came through with it again. They know that I got spirit with a pen. Don't know why they try to compete when they know that in victory it's never gonna end. Them man are weak, that's why they could never speak. They ain't like me, I take it to the peak. Different type of steeds that I breed. Wheel up on the mic, they won't get one of these. Please, I don't wanna hear no talk from them. I don't wanna see nothing at all from them. They can't do it like me. So all I wanna see really is a round of applause from them. Vibes in the air, we caused it again. Life isn't fair, but we rode it again. All of my teams being ready for the war, there's no warning for them. Tell them again, I ain't here to make up no friends. I just came through yet again. We up, you never got one of them. Top of the pound yet again. They can't stop this child not again. Reigning champ, I won't lose it. So you know I'm gonna win that again. Tell them again. Tell them again. Tell them again. Tell them again. I ain't here to make up no friends. I just came through yet again. Wheel up, you never got one of them. Top of the pile yet again. They can't stop this child not again. Reigning champ, I won't lose it. So you know I'm gonna win that again. Tell them 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 again. I ain't here to make up no friends. I just came through yet again. Wheel up, you never got one of them. Top of the pile yet again. They can't stop this child not again. Reigning champ, I won't lose it. So you know I'm gonna win that again.
It all comes down to this, the final day of the VALORANT Challengers North America Mid-Season Cup, and 2 teams remain. Turtle Troop going up against Oxygen Esports. I cannot wait to get started with today. It is going to be an absolute banger. My name's Sierra, and joining me on the desk, well, I have Vans and I have Psycho. Vans, great stuff. It should be great. I can't predict the future, but I think pretty safe to say great stuff on the horizon here.
100%. I for sure cannot predict the future because I was not expecting that these would be the 2 teams going to the grand finals of the mid-season cup. To see Turtle Troop against Oxygen, it's quite a surprise, but I'm still happy that I'm here to get to do this on the desk with you. Sierra, Don, D-O-N. Get it? Nice little duo there on the desk.
I see what you did there. I mean, you're talking about this being a nice surprise. It's like, I think that sums it up nicely. Looking back at these teams, I mean, they have been strong throughout all of Split 1 here in Challengers. But if you had asked anyone what 2 teams they thought were going to be in the grand finals, I think a lot of people would have swayed the way of M80 and MXS.
Yeah, I think just based on the numbers and the vibes, so to speak, I think that's what people were leaning, right? But this is an Oxygen who is showing us flashes of brilliance that we haven't seen from them since the offseason, when they were racking up off-season tournament wins, both online and on LAN, even against partnered teams. And everybody was looking at this team going, oh my goodness, it's going to be a tough challenge to beat this team, right? And then on the other hand, you have this Turtle Troop team who, you know, they had a pretty good Split 1. You know, they weren't on anybody's radars. They're not sponsored by a big organization. They don't have the flashy support that some of these other teams do, but they made waves that last week by beating M80, and you know, look at them in the semifinals here, beating M80 once again, and they're doing it with a substitute player, right? So this is a team that is not to be underestimated, and they've shown that time and time again.
I think that's the exact thing. For Turtle Troop, it was the exact opposite as how you were introducing Oxygen. When you were looking at this team during stage 2, they're like, oh, we're looking at the group B. It should be an easier group. TTR shouldn't be that high. Everybody's looking to see like probably TTR and I think TSM, if they're in the same group, to be at that bottom, and everybody else trying to go throughout the mid-season cup. And now they made it to the top of their group. They actually upset some teams. We were potentially not supposed to see Don on the desk today because if it was M80 in the grand finals, it wasn't. We were gonna have Psycho. Probably would have had Roy, but unfortunately, we get to see Don. In like, I guess it's pros and cons of having Don on the desk today.
A little give, a little take here.
Exactly.
That's right.
Let's dive a little bit more into talking about these teams and the magic that brought them to this point, because maybe they have been overshadowed by a couple of these other teams that have been deemed kind of the powerhouses of the groups. But when you look at Oxygen going up against Turtle Troop and look at the players and the talent they have on the squad, I feel like overshadowed is definitely the right way to be putting it, because there is a lot of talent here. Players that have prestige experience going on back. It's like people who are competing and doing really well last year. So this is a great opportunity to see where they've grown and if they can take the championship title here.
Yeah, I think to just bang to what Don was saying before too is when you're looking at Oxygen Esports and what they've been playing throughout the offseason with the Tarek and Ludwig Invitational and playing other teams that were like grinding this tier 2 scene, you're always looking at the top 3 teams of this stage of who could make it to Ascension between M80, them, and also Moist X Shopify. But when you're looking at names that are under the banner of Moist X Shopify, having like Ludwig as a CEO or Nitro as an IGL from M80, they're always going to be, under the shadows of those high profile names. But when it comes down to how they're able to frag in the server, they're looking so good as a group and as a unit. And quite honestly, if you're looking at, the grand finals now and you're trying to predict these 2 teams going head to head, I still think now you're giving a lot of praise and a lot of hope for Oxygen to even close it out in this series today.
Yeah, I mean, Turtle Troop are coming into this looking like potentially the better team. You know, they just took down M80. They're on a hot streak. They've
you're saying the opposite.
Series.
You think it's TTR?
Yeah. I'm thinking TTR. TTR.
Okay.
I think they're coming into this hot. I mean, look at them. They're a team who went into the playoffs fresh off of beating M80, right? Everybody was looking at as the #1 team. They take them down and then they immediately lose their best player. We did. Not only is he the best player on the team, but he statistically had the second highest stats of the entire stage 1, all 5 weeks, second only behind M80 Xander, right? So this is a powerhouse player who's bringing a lot of firepower for them, as well as being the energy and vibes guy and overall goofball of the team. And that's a big hit for a team to lose points in all of these categories and have to go into this event with a substitute. But they pulled in Silence, who's been absolutely phenomenal at filling the gaps. He's not popping off and becoming, a star player for them like Weeded has. But everybody else has stepped up around him, right? And what that says to me is that this is a well-rounded team. This is a team that doesn't rely on any stars, any one player to get the job done. They have a phenomenal IGL in Stellar, who's coming off of a stint in 100 Thieves for the past few years at the tier 1 level. Very good IGL and obviously very good mechanically, as we saw yesterday, and all these other guys around him who have each stepped up in their own way, right? So this is a cohesive unit. I think this is something that we're looking at as greater than the sum of its individual parts.
I mean, let's talk about a couple of those individual parts, though, coming out from both teams, because you were talking about Stellar, and Stellar had a absolutely wonderful performance yesterday. But not the only IGL here, Vans, that was able to step up. Both of the calling from both of these IGLs was spectacular, but also able to step up in their own moments to make sure they could deliver for the team as well. And so rounded. I mean, clearly why these teams were able to make it to this point as well.
Yeah, for sure. And when you're looking at Mitch on the other end, I know we were, pumping the tires here for Stella, how good he is, but I think Mitch is another great IGL fragging for the team. You've seen how well and how good of a performance he even put on Bind when they were playing yesterday against MXS. And when it comes down to the IGLing of Mitch, if you look at that third map on Split, Oxygen had probably like the best calls coming through on how they were able to take advantage of MXS playing a lot more passively and giving so much space for Oxygen to work with on Split. So if you're giving that opportunity here for a structured team this time around in comparison to Turtle Troop, who's playing a little bit more loose, I think you're still going to see that structure and the firepower that Oxygen brings to the table to take it over to the series, which is why, again, I'd like to disagree with Don saying that he's saying, yes, the loose style and Stellar being great IGLs and Silence being able to fill the shoes of We Did will be good enough. But I think that lack of structure, because there's less time that they had to practice with Silence versus what Oxygen has been building through the offseason until now, plus with the coaching of Blancard, I think they're looking really good to take this series once again because of those reasons.
Yeah, they sure are. And I mean, both teams have IGLs who have a ton of experience at the top level, coming off of stints from tier 1 teams, leading teams with lots of players in the past who have a ton of experience themselves, right? So I think this is really a battle of the IGLs, as we saw on that graphic. Both IGLs leading their teams extremely well in the macro level, but as well as stepping up individually and being these high power fragging IGLs that we see more and more often these days. I mean, Stellar putting up 174 damage per round yesterday against M80, the number 1 seed, number 2 seed coming into this. I mean, that's not something easy to do. So
that's true.
Both of these teams have great leaders, solid IGLs, and I'm really looking at this as a battle of the IGLs going into today.
I think it's going to be really, really interesting to see how these two teams go up against each other, especially too with that battle of the IGLs that's being kind of set up, because there's a lot going into this. Very recent performances being able to base off of each other, but these two weren't in the same group. So despite their own performances in each individual group, they haven't matched up against each other since November with very different looks. So
Yes.
I'm really intrigued to see how that's going to shake up heading into today's match. And of course, we do have our map picks and bans to see where we're going to be kicking it off for the series for the team. And to start off, Turtle Troop fans, they're going to be taking us to Icebox. They banned this up against M80 because M80 is so good on it. But other than that, Turtle Troop, they haven't been necessarily shy of this map.
I think this is what's really fun when you're looking at the map picks for today, having Icebox and Breeze as the first and floater map for both of these teams, because for both TTR and Oxygen Esports, it's been maps that they've been banning as their first pick, depending on the weeks and depending against what teams. So I find it very interesting that they're leaving it through in the playoffs and playing it a lot more. And I think it's also based on what they saw yesterday for Turtle Troops versus Oxygen, when Oxygen brought out the Reyna over for Redux over on that side, and it wasn't like the best performances on that side, just because MXS had a very strong icebox. Not saying that their icebox were bad, but I think for TTR they probably noticed something that they could take advantage of, which is why they're gonna let this float. But the thing is too, for TTR, they haven't been playing like I think they might come out with a new comp that might even counter that overall against Oxygen.
Yeah, and to touch on what you were saying earlier, Vans, I mean, with Oxygen playing a bit more of a structured style, I think this is an opportunity for Turtle Troop to take it to a much more brawly map where they can rely on their firepower, rely on their wackiness, their silliness, if you will, to get these first bloods, to get these rounds in their favor. So I think this is a good pick for Turtle Troop coming in to really put them on the back foot early. And then inversely on Oxygen's side, picking into Bind. I mean, this is a map where Turtle Troop has only played twice in all of Stage 1 and Mid-Season Cup. They played it once in Week 1. And again, yesterday, or 2 days ago rather, versus Blind. So this is a map where Turtle Troop might not have the most experience and might be feeling a little bit uneasy going into it, but I'll be the one to say it. I'm disappointed no Lotus. I was really looking forward to seeing Scuba back on the Clove.
I'm normally very much so. You know what? I'm okay with no Lotus, but I do agree I would have loved to see a little bit more Scuba Clove coming on out. But what I'm intrigued with going over to Icebox is when we saw Oxygen play this yesterday, I mean, we've spent a lot of time talking about TTRs and some of the quirkier things that they'll play. But Vans, we did get to see Redux go over to the Reyna, and I don't necessarily think that it was the pick that worked out necessarily the greatest, considering the potential of this young duelist. So I'm intrigued if they're going to run it back, how he's going to do today, or if they'll kind of swap that up for him.
Yeah, so like I said, I don't feel like their composition or the way that they approached the map with that composition was necessarily bad. It was just because when they played against MXS played different initiators, right? They had the double flashes with a KO instead, which brought a lot of value to really take over how Oxygen kind of played their map on Icebox. So I think if anything, you learn from your mistakes and you can maybe min-max what you've learned from that match previously and maybe keep the Reyna. Because even in the post-match interview, when you actually had Redux had the conversation with Dan Dryad, he did mention like Reyna is still pretty good for me. I'm very comfortable with that agent. So maybe it's just trying to figure out how they could take more advantage of that Reyna in the way that they want to work the map.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see kind of whereabouts they fix some mistakes going into this, because it's like now we're into the grand finals here, and I think too, looking how this map pick and select has gone down, that this could be a 3-mapper. So heading into the agent select, I would love to know your thoughts about kind of where we are stacking up with these teams, especially with the compositions coming on out.
Oh, and there it is, Redux back on the Reyna. So it'll be interesting to see what Oxygen have adjusted to kind of work this a little bit better in their favor. But I think just looking at the compositions, both are a little bit unorthodox from what we typically see on these maps, but they're good comps. And I'm liking what I'm seeing from Turtle Troop a little bit more, I think. But like I said, this will be a brawly map. I would expect Turtle Troop a lot of in-your-face plays. A lot of on-the-fly mid-round decision-making, and a lot of trying to play outside of the box that Oxygen are trying to put Turtle Troop inside of with their structure.
Yeah, and Turtle Troop, if you're looking at it, there has been an agent change, right? When they had the Cypher and the KO before, this is what they want to bring out. So like I said, trying to take advantage of what Oxygen's weakness was using a double initiator against them. But the extra thing too is that they're putting B-Dog on the Omen. So they're leveraging the verticality and the TPs that B-Dog could bring and the smokes to block the vision to try to fight back against Oxygen. So this is a comp, like I said, that's fully changed, that's made to try to counter what Oxygen brought to the table.
Yeah, and we're seeing this more and more, right? Where these duelist players are getting thrown onto the Omen or the Brimstone in these no duelist compositions. So it's something we've seen work with Cryo. It's something we've seen work with Tens at the top level. So I'm interested to see how it works out here with B-Dog.
We're not going to have to wait any longer. It's time to kick off with the grand finals here in the Mid-Season Cup and toss over to Uber and Wyatt for Icebox.
Uber Wyatt, grand finals!
Thank you very much. Yes, it's me. Your boy with Wyatt, your other boy.
Yeah, all right. I mean, it's caught me off guard there a little bit, but listen, I appreciate it. Hype me up, validate me. I'll take it. I like it.
The bat chest gas up of the boys pre-game, not something that I was necessarily ready for. This is such an interesting game. I mean, these two teams, as has been discussed, just haven't played each other on virtue of being on two different sides, of these two groups here in challenges. And many people were looking at Oxygen with a middling showing in Group A at 3-2, not expecting them to be here. But those games against MXS, Wyatt, you never know which way they're going to go. They're very volatile, always. Seeing them here against Turtle Troop, though, playing for the lion's share. Let's just be clear here. The lion's share of $17,000. It's $11K for first, 6 for second, but also 6 circuit points on the line. Turtle Troop, even if they lose here, are going to come out of this game with the most circuit points in challenges.
A result that no one would have expected given how they were playing early on in the season. Both teams, as you mentioned with Oxygen, they had that tumultuous regular season. Oxygen started slow against Moy Shopify, got a few nice wins in the middle, and then lost at the end to Core, which was a huge upset. For Turtle Troop, it was a slow start with a gradual incline as the season went on. And now they've arrived in the finals, 2 victories over N80 in the past month. They've been so solid under the leadership of Stellar, a very experienced in-game leader, and now up against one of the teams that everyone expected to be in that big 3 coming into the season, and one of the teams with a serious shot at qualifying into partnership when it's all said and done here.
We'll have your game sound for you in just a moment, folks. Jumping straight on in here, big changes to the Turtle Troop composition. Now going double flash, getting rid of the Sova. We'll see that early Omen one way here to slow things up, but Redux is unperturbed. The Viper Wall means that Oxygen can move up here and get within striking distance of Turtle Troop immediately.
That Omen one way was laid down for B main, but they have more than enough flashes, this Oxygen comp, to work through it. Syncing up that Dizzy and Alir from Reyna can be pretty annoying to deal with. Look at this, it looks like they want to just flash through this wall.
Redux going to go for it there. I think they're trying to spot them out with a 0 point, but it doesn't catch. The Dizzy finds good purchase. Stellar and Nana are able to combine here for 3 total. And now it's all up to Verno. He's made his way all the way to the back of the map here, and already Wingman is going to go to work with his DQs. Gets it to half. Verno stuck here. And Oxygen absolutely decimated by that Stellar util.
A lovely Dizzy coming over the top to save Adder there. It looked like Adder was going to be ruined. He thought that Dizzy was not going to pass by the wall in Snowman. Just catches him. Such good supportive utility. And clean shots from Adder as well. One of these challengers players that we've been looking at for the past 2 years to, really ascend the ranks, make a claim that they should be one of the partnership players in Americas. So much hype behind this guy last year, and more than deservedly so.
Some dirty deadlock tricks, as we've seen over the last couple of series for the Troop. But that ascent map got banned out by Oxygen. They do not want a bar of it. Into the second here. Tentative probes from Oxygen. Not fully committing on that B side of the map as Redux here. Very aware of that flash util that could get thrown their way. B-Dog back to Rafters here. Might look to one-way pipes or something similar. Dapper's about to see Corey here. This turret takes contact.
Those one-ways are going to be very annoying to work through, and defensively, you can really see the benefit of the Omen, aside from being able to cycle some of these early smokes to slow down the Oxygen efforts or force out the flashes. Having those extra smokes for retakes are really, really valuable.
Redux a little quicker on the trigger finger, though, punishing Stellar. Now they have control of the side pretty instantly there. B-Dog had no choice but to get out. The Leo got thrown in. Pretty sure he also heard the Dizzy at work.
Spike planted.
Oni now playing from the top side of the map. The weapons are better here for Turtle Troop at least, but they're going to play this post plant, and all of Oxygen is stacked up and high-low setup. Pipes is conceded here, but Oxygen now can flood in on any sort of retake attempt. B-Dog's good for 1, and Corey with the Guardian playing from that low ground will be the sole player left here for Turtle Troop, and he's about to get very, very busy. No accompanying joke this time. It's a pickaxe to the shoulder for Corey. He needs to make this work. The Mitch locks it down, and Oxygen get back in is awful quick.
That just straight up comes to shots being hit. Redux on the Reyna for a reason. One of the best we have mechanically in the Challengers scene. And those Sheriff shots were just nasty. They bought 2 into the round, and now we're able to carry over that Guardian, the Bulldog as well. Flipping the game on its head early. Turtle Troop are going to try to do the same back to them. 2 Sheriffs purchased in the hands of Adder and B-Dog here.
Stella already with 5 orbs towards that Thrash. Many of those getting funneled in his direction.
Mish with 6 as well. Has the spike in hand, of course, because that Wingman makes the plant so easy. So if things get scrappy here towards the post plant, that Thrash might be useful for closing out the round.
Filing super sub here for Turtle Troop. Here's the Aldrin come through and gives a bit of ground. Eventually, Turtle Troop will have to play from behind this Viper wall. That now comes up. Away they go. Leader paved the way for Redux now. And the rotations are getting pulled across pretty darn quickly. Nothing indicating that Oxygen aren't intending to NB, but they're being very slow about it. And this is what Don said. This is a very structured team. Full setup here now for the side hit. They're going to move on up. It'll be a high Leah to catch Ada, force him away off that angle. Nice dizzy connection on the Corey, but somehow we're still able to find the shot on Redux with a classic of all weapons. Scuba's in a bit of an awkward position now, but it doesn't matter. Spray down for 3 in total. And Oxygen are looking good.
Oxygen are really pressing the issue here on B, fighting forward. And on some of these full gun rounds that are going to come up, I think it might be to their own demise. It's so tough with this new version of Icebox to get safe positions around the site. You can just get shot from so many different angles, and you can see that happening to Scuba. He gets out of there with a sick spray transfer, but he was on the cusp of going down. He's not going to hit that every day. He's getting shot in the back, shot from the side. Almost gave away that rifle for no reason. I mean,
Okay.
that rifle has been given away.
Well, they have no choice because they're not sure. That Omen smoke on the bomb cost Oxygen a lot of resources. Here's that little spray down here towards the end of the round. Ah, yes. Hit him so freaking hard. He ended up in a different map. That's what I'm talking about. Nicely done, Redux.
Just a little reminder of how well Stellar played yesterday against M80, how clutch he's been.
Right there.
Putting up some good individual performances while being the IGL. And now we've got an operator on the field from B-Dog. He's going to be posted up towards B main. And that should allow the rest of Turtle Troop to be focused on other areas of the map, mainly right now towards mid.
Monster on the loose.
Here's that Thrash. Early as they come. Does a little bit of a circuit, realizes that A is clear and the Turtle Troop are playing for the full retake here.
Go again.
Might be a little bit frustrating behind some of these Omen one-ways already. B-Dog getting those assembled. He has to peer into this A site with an operator though. When he eventually gets here. And you better believe he will. But Oxygen have not really had to commit too much, and Wyatt, they don't really touch the backside either.
Rash isn't done with you.
That Dizzy's going to come in. Turtle Troop going to try to scale off of it, but they can't find a timing because the Thrash shuts them down.
They caught Ada. No chance for Oxygen to follow up here and try and pick the Killjoy, but they get what they wanted. They've really interrupted the timing here for Turtle Troop. Stella's very low, has to drop behind Jenny, and it's easy for Verno to send a shock dart to clean up that kill. Now, though, Hotfoot across the entirety of Oxygen. Corey trying to push up here. Verno able to hold his ground. Pipes is a decent spot to be for Redux, but gets doubled down on. And eventually it's going to be Scuba. B-Dog has to challenge with an operator. He's better off trying to save this weapon here, and he knows it. Ooh, 5 HP in a dream. Trying to get out. And there's no way he's holding onto this gun.
Oh, they just risk it all to hunt him down, and there's no reason they shouldn't. Oxygen's economy has been really solid, despite losing 4 players to the spike now, just on account of ecoing on round 2 and carrying over some of those early Guardians and Bulldogs. Turtle Troop forced back onto the eco now. They can afford to buy up some Sheriffs and Light Armors and still have enough for the next. Going to attempt to work towards some of these ults too. Adder and Corey getting very close. And Stellar has that Thrash if a couple of headshots are hit, if things are starting to get close. Try and win back an eco of their own.
Oxygen, again, slow opener for them. But this is a level of conditioning as well. We've seen them apply to many teams on their way here. It means those fast hit rounds come far less expectedly. Verno has pipes at least, and just checking that back left corner. Redux more than happy to play from behind this now. Poison orb thrown over in the screen's direction here, so gonna be hard to cover that. Might not have been placed perfectly here, and Redux gets himself traded out. It's fine though, because Mitch and Dapper fill the space in behind him, and Wingman is gonna get to work.
Oxygen a lot more focused on overwhelming the site there, scaling back site to assist Redux than getting the spike down early. Small little micro decision, but it pays off, and just keeping some of those players alive, keeping things a little bit safer.
One enemy remaining.
Turret got picked off on the flank, so Oxygen know that Silex is on the prowl. Silex playing extremely tentatively here, checking literally every angle on this flank, realizing that the opportunity for a defuse is long since passed him by. So being able to get a weapon or 2 out of Oxygen's hands as this economy begins to burgeon is going to be the most important part of the round. Unfortunately, you can't achieve that either. It's a 3-round buffer as Oxygen start to get real cash flush.
Turtle Troop have a lot of work to do. to get back into this half, and they know it. They're going to take that timeout here for round 6. A pivotal time for the timeout, given the status of the ultimates across the board for both sides. There were players on Oxygen just one off of getting their ult 2, Dapper being the critical one, could have the lockdown here if they fight early for that B orb. And Oxygen's game plan has really just been working to a T so far. They're slowing things down in the mid-round, contacting up, and then exploding onto the site. And it's worked like a charm. 4 rounds in a row now. Turtle Troop wanted to shut that down with the AWP on B-Dog towards B, but on that round they hit A, and their setups for the post plants have just been so good as well.
I think that having a flash duelist here as well is something that's like pretty underexplored. But you've noticed that Oxygen don't have to spend a ton of utility on these hits. I mean, you know, by comparison, I think we're seeing Redux, throw that leader in, get the site. Maybe Dizzy comes out but gets cycled later on. There's so much for Oxygen to work with because, you have that extra leer to rely on.
And there is going to be a difference for sure on how Turtle Troop and Oxygen can play some of these scenarios on defense, and that Redux can push up, get a kill, and fade away on that Reyna, get away. These Turtle Troop players, when they're getting aggressive, they're pretty committed. But B-Dog finds an excellent timing on Verno.
It's a great variation. Big pick off here. Redux, though, struggle to find more than just the trade in many of these rounds. But it's been a follow-up. And what Redux has done has been crucial for Oxygen to get this 3-round lead. This time, though, it's a little bit more labored. See, the spike there went loose instantly as Verno got picked off.
A lot of individual exploration across the map from Oxygen. Though Verno just certainly did not expect that aggressive push forward from B-Dog. That is one of the areas where you can get pretty proactive, teleporting up to belt early, catching that timing, teleporting to pipes.
Dapper is down here, so no early warning system for the flank. And Oxygen have to know that it's probably coming in the next few moments. But they don't know they're going A, so Stella's out of the fight for the time being. He can't get involved here. Corey there holds the angle. It's an easy crossfire to put together for Turtle Troop. And off the back of that little variation from B-Dog at the start of the round, they're back in this.
I definitely want to see them to continue to fight for some of the early space like that. That was the first round where Oxygen were actually playing a bit more spread. Perfect timing from B-Dog there. And he is the one who's going to have to be the tip of the spear in these aggressive plays. He is that pseudo duelist when you play the no duelist icebox comp.
Here's the pings. Turtle Troop maybe setting up for something aggressive early again. Yes, this time it's to pipes though. The B-Dog not quite as in Oxygen's face. They're still hoping to stir up a little bit of early round action. But again, Oxygen, they drop the pace quite considerably here. Redux a little bit uncertain about what might be awaiting on the other side of pipes. Verno's intuition also correct as B-Dog is lying in wait. Turtle Troop now choking the pace of the round.
Looks like they're going to leave Verno there. Yeah, he pops his drone just to try and fake that presence, and with the tag on B-Dog, it'll force him out in an attempt to keep these Turtle Troop players thinking that the A hit will eventually come.
There's no map control here for Oxygen, though. And we have less than a minute left in the round. Now they have to re-clear all of this space. Pipes and all the rest. B-Dog sticks that TP out.
Yeah, they have to re-clear it, but that noise cut did bait 2 of the players from Turtle Troop off the site. Corey and Stellar made that rotate to B, and B-Dog's actually full committed to this. He made a drop sound, too.
He sees nothing. His own one-way makes it impossible for him to know what's coming. Now he knows, though. Recon comes in. Wingman does get stymied, but B-Dog is going to get absolutely clapped here. Dapper backs away. Okay, going to go for a fairly early lockdown, combining with the Viper's pick here. Both teams committing those Killjoy ultimates. Mitch now has to get out of range of this, but the spike is already down.
And they stopped her.
Okay, that's a lockdown down for Oxygen. Turtle Troop's over still active. Now they can start threatening a potential defuse. Scuba, though, wants to slow him up. Turtle Troop getting pretty aggressive off the back of this now, and Mitch at least has the high ground to play from. There's so many targets, and he gets all of them. And Wingman to boot. No defuse now, and Corey's stuck out in the middle of nowhere.
Turtle Troop's composition is really playing for these retakes, but they need B-Dog to pull it off. having him alive there with the smokes to cut off a position like Belt when the spike is planted out in the open to be spammed from Belt would have been crucial. But with him playing forward, making that drop sound, he was all but dead when his feet touched the ground there on the site.
Isolate and
If they're going to play for retake, they really have to do it in a position like that.
That noise cut, absolutely devastating. I don't think Turtle Trooper... Well, they're struggling to get a feel for the pace here that Oxygen are playing at, Wyatt. They had 4 people off the A side, and B-Dog had also TP'd out. You're going to get caught early here. Harness Fury finds its mark. This is a very low buy for Turtle Troop. Really not much to work with at all. Still no plant quite yet, and Verno is actively watching the flank here as opposed to just allowing the turret to do the work. So that's what they're expecting.
Enemy remaining.
Reach out a swing on that one pretty easy. It's just Corey left, and he'll be brought down in response.
A simple anti-eco. And at this point, I do want to draw attention to the fact that this was Turtle Troop's pick. They played it 2 times in the season, handily beating the Glazers the first, and then getting destroyed by M80 the second. That was exactly to the day 1 month ago. They've switched their comp since then, but it is still interesting to see them pick this into Oxygen. You have to imagine it's because of Oxygen's loss to Moist Shopify.
Let's move.
But a pretty sizable risk from Turtle Troop nevertheless. It looks like B-Dog is going to go for an aggressive play here again with Corey. This duo on A has been trying to gain this space and fight early.
This time, though, that Recon actually catches Corey. So Oxygen are wise to some of this early aggression, and still, Verno opts to peek into it. Selling some action over on A at the cost of his own health points. He eventually pulls away. Thrash is heading over towards B, looking to check it out here. Yep, there it is. Scuba able to capitalize. Silence at max range, I think. Got detained by that Thrash. It's an easy pick off for Oxygen and a devastating start to this gun round for Turtle Troop.
Just playing these B hits a little bit differently. On the previous rounds when they went for them, it was essentially a 5-man, but now they've left Dapper this lurk in tube. Fighting forward though faster, Turtle Troop. I like the pace of this from them.
Yeah, I mean, pretty huge behind his KO ultimate, right? None of these flashes that you're bringing into the fight are any use to you right now. Great window for Turtle Troop to surge forward.
Fantastic speed on that from Turtle Troop. Working quickly to scale up to yellow and take the fights, making that flank player entirely irrelevant. And it was really the first time Oxygen did that towards B. They're going to be forced onto the timeout here. Or I say forced. It's not really forced onto the timeout. More so, Turtle Troop finally put something together. And they might as well use it now to try and continue the lead into this half.
So pistol here, of course. This is the last few rounds as they played out. That early aggression on Verno was an inflection point. Ada being able to lock things down. Normally playing Cypher on this map. Making the switch over to the more standard Killjoy. It was a nice little clutch there from Mitch for the high ground. Here's how that round went, though. Silence here is caught. And then that null command absolutely ruins Oxygen's ability to fight back as Turtle Troop surge forward and just lean into all that KO util.
Yeah, absolutely. Most of these rounds so far, it's been the moments of noise cut from Oxygen that have really put Turtle Troop in a bad position for the late rounds. But even still, the crux of them winning this, to me, continuing to rack up defensive sides, are going to be playing for the retakes like that with this composition. It excels in those situations. You're seeing Verno on the map again towards A early. Oxygen have really just been trying to use him as a fake over towards this site. Multiple rounds in a row, and you have to expect the Turtle Troop are getting wise to it, but also, in the case of Oxygen, you know, they could try to use Verno there eventually to just go for a full A hit, but make it seem like he's just lurking again.
Well, why is that conditioning standard round as far as they go? You see, Redux trying to get up on the high ground. What? Caught by the fragment of all things. No, this is ugly. 3v3 though. Ada still holds that mid angle. Gets rid of the turret, giving away his position, but they knew he was there already. Make no mistake. Plant gonna go down under dark cover.
Spike planted.
Scuba looking worse for wear, and Verno got spotted heading towards Snowman. But Stella, even with only walling, can't stop him. Ada surely can bring him down, but not before Verno finds 3 in the round. And now it's the Killjoy in a 1 versus 2. Both Oxygen players have retreated back to yellow. And Nana has to try and find a way, in fairness, with all this health to unravel them. Better damage, but only glancing blows on Dapper. He swings into 2, and there's no way you're winning that one. Oxygen, a scrappy round, but they come out on top.
A good effort to swing their wall. The Molly was on the ground. The crosshairs descended to it. But still running into that 2-man setup behind Yellow. Going to be so difficult for Adder to crack. Turtle Troop were in prime position to win that in the 4v3, but Silex takes a fight while the spike was on the ground, still not yet recovered. Just a confident play, and it is Turtle Troop's undoing. Simply did not need to go down there. They can hold the positions and wait for the spike tap to flood.
Revealing area.
All right, here's that early recon here to try and clear out green. Corey wants to stick around, though. He actually recommits into yellow here. Does not want to give up this space so easily. It's a bit of an awkward buy round, and Corey he just buys the farm. Swings out there into probably 5 players. Instantly blown up.
Just doing way too much. You know, if he wants to fight forward towards yellow, it's not something they've really done before. Mostly playing behind the wall. That's fine. But he can't just take a haphazard swing like that off of his own flash. At the very least, Stellar is there. Try to combo it with a Dizzy. Go for a double peek or wait for some sound and then throw the 2 flashes. Swing off that.
And Oxygen have no reason to take any undue risks here. They slow things down. They definitely do show that they're here to stay, but they're confident in their numbers. There goes Wingman. That's not a plant. That is a fake. Trying to draw some more of these defenders out of position here. Okay, Scuba steps up now.
30 seconds
Wall
left.
drops, but they're going to plant behind this anyway. They want to take the fight. B-Dog more than happy to acquiesce, though, when Silence with the classic is able to find one. That evens up the numbers. Silence would love to get closer and employ this judge, and it's all going to come down to that weapon. Not nearly enough. Mitch, another 3K in the round.
He's stepped up so much in the playoffs individually, Mitch. It was that last game of the season against Core that he had a very disappointing performance, going -25, losing it to a team that they certainly feel like they shouldn't be. And since then, has just kicked it into high gear, giving that additional layer of fragging power to a team that is already just filled to the brim with solid players, incredibly mechanically sound players.
Revealing area.
Another look towards A here early. B-Dog goes for the early aggression, and again, there's a recon. He doesn't have anyone to cover it for him, so it lights him up, and he backs up.
Mitch is going to get close with that Thrasher as well and be able to clear out so much of that close area on the site towards 410, towards Generator.
Oh yeah! Monster on the loose!
Here he goes. Okay, shut down there by the 0 point. Good response here from the defenders. Oh, Redux caught there. Looking the wrong way. B-Dog able to collapse on him there. And another beautiful shot. This Guardian going to work. Mitch toppled from the height of pipes. And now a lockdown. Another ultimate committed by the attackers in a 3v5. Adamant, of course, about winning this last round of the half. Stella, though, happy to hang around for a time. He's at risk of getting caught, though. He will be. Yep, detained, but will be covered inside screens. There's going to be a Viper Spit now also for the attackers. So many ultimates to spend, but still a 2-player disadvantage. They're going to back away post-plant.
Stellar does have that wingman available when he puts it on the spike. Oxygen, of course, they're going to have to spam. They all have Vandals. Turtle Troop will be able to see the tracers and try to capitalize off that.
That 0 point doesn't catch the Viper playing close, so the pit stays up. Stellar just spamming through it here. B-Dog going hunting and gets punished instantly. Verno happy to drop down off of pipes now. Dapper inside the pit, more than happy to take some contact, and it's a beautiful adjustment to take the head clean off Adder's shoulders. Now you have the player advantage. You have the pit. And you have Turtle Troop under an extreme time crunch. Dapper's able to come forward, take another one, and that should be enough. Corey can't get it done. And Oxygen get a whopping 9 rounds on the attacking side.
Switching sides.
Fantastic attacking half. Turtle Troop could not find the answer. I was really hoping to see more in terms of Stellar and Corey using some of those flashes, the Dizzy, with Corey's flash in tandem to find moments to catch players, fight aggressively, but it just didn't really come enough. You know, there was that one retake on B where they had a really nice pace where that was the case, but overall just not enough for me in that regard. Oxygen's noise cuts on so many of those rounds were Really nice. Turtle Troop just did not know how to rotate around it.
Well, they don't have a lot of ways to get like great info as well. I mean, they are playing the Sovalus composition, which is not a cardinal sin, but you know, they're often playing off the 0-point timings. And with Corey normally on defense was throwing that quite early to try and see if Werner was going to make himself susceptible to that early aggression from someone like B-Dog. I mean, yeah, Turtle Troop just, again, it was a pace issue, right? There's a couple of rounds where they obviously walk off B. They really expect something, walk off A, excuse me. They really expect something is happening over at B and get mega punished for it. In that last round, I don't know, Oxygen just had 4 ultimates, so, you know, fair enough. I will point out, Wyatt, though, on the attacking side, Redux struggles to even trade in some of these rounds. Like, really is giving himself up here early so that Oxygen can sort of get in behind him and capitalize. On this defense side, though, I expect Redux can probably have a bit of an easier time.
For sure. You got to be able to, not going to be able to, but rather you're going to see him pushing up and be able to escape when he finds some kills on the Reyna there. Even when he's not putting up big numbers, he still plays with that confidence and plays his role. I mean, that's exactly what you said about him in the first half, and it's exactly true. The team was always able to swing off of him when he was, you know, getting up, when he was on the ropes going from Nest into the A site, playing up top, taking those deep fights. His team was swinging, trading effectively. And listen, he didn't get a lot of kills, but the ones he did were massive impact, because I'm just thinking back to round 2, where they ecoed Turtle Troop just off of Turtle Troop winning the pistol, and it was because Redux just waltzed into the A site and hit 2 Sheriff headshots. So, listen, he played his role. He did his job for sure.
We had a tech pause there just as the player's camera needed to be adjusted. We're going to be back into the action momentarily here. Pistol, obviously, very important for Turtle Troop. Let's hope they have something set, as it looks like at least this 0-point will be well and truly lined up. Be wary of the Reyna fighting in the site. Oxygen don't have to just play for retake. They don't have to just give it up. They can throw down quite happily.
Don't worry. I'll keep them.
It looks like Turtle Troop are going to try to make a lot of early presence towards B. Probably a Dizzy going into main from Stellar. There it is, and that knife is going to land yellow. Meanwhile, over on A, 2 players trying to collect some space here, with the KJ Turret adder watching for that deep push. Working the map on both sides right now, Turtle Troop. This is a good open from them so far.
Oxygen here do have a player drifting already over. That's Dapper towards mid. They've really tried to hedge here for a bit of B action, but the Spike, as we can see, is heading elsewhere. It's a slow approach for Turtle Troop. Redux is going to see some action. Oh, we love a freebie. Okay, has to break line of sight to the corpse, so doesn't get the full healing and takes some shots back, but I mean, you're happy with that. You got a lot of information, and this is not enough to pull Oxygen away. You see, trending back towards B is Verno.
Little man.
That did draw 1 rotate off. And now, Turtle Troop, they made a ton of noise B. They're going to try to work back to A. Redux is holding a passive angle. So long as he doesn't get another, this should be a post-plant situation here.
No slurp available for Redux, so now I have to play a little bit more carefully. All right, B-Dog getting caught here. It's having to go again for that plant. Some free damage being done. Redux eventually brought down. Corey with Util in hand gets caught on that left-hand side as he swings out. Stella has to crouch into it.
1 enemy remaining.
He's able to win it out. And Stella comes away with 4. Nicely done by Turtle Troop. A must-win round converted.
Don't get shot.
Really big from Stellar. I love how they worked that round. Oxygen were just so spread across the map. You could see at one point they were baited all the way towards B. They went to a 3-1-1, 3 players on B, and it was because of Stellar and Corey using their rechargeable utility over there, so they were able to cycle it later, getting some space on A at the same time, just leaving their options open. Really nicely played from them. 2 pistols in this game. They got ecoed after the first win in the first half.
Experiment complete.
Love that from B-Dog. Raw aggression here. Dismiss has to be used now for Redux, but there's too far to go to get to safety. Stella's able to punish. Oxygen are at least fighting doggedly at the start of the round. Do some damage, but need more of it. This will be a very elementary flowchart the round follows. As Wingman goes about his business and isn't bothered by the shock.
Importantly from Stellar too, because of 4 kills on the pistol, a kill here gets the orb and the plant. He's already got a thrash for round 3.
And it's huge timing. It's about as early as you can get it, realistically. Dapper. Yeah, doesn't want any of that smoke, but has no choice. Would love to die to the spike, but that's not really an option here.
Bomb grenade out.
Giving over yet another ult orb. And Hannah would love an earlier lockdown if possible. Verno here not really trying to do anything outside of die inevitably to the spike.
One enemy remaining.
I see the idea for Dapper. The chance here of stripping a weapon overshadows his fear of giving an ult orb, and he hangs around. But that'll be that. Turtle Troop get 2 in a row.
And they've got a really good shot at winning the bonus here.
Shadows.
Again, just drawing attention to Stellar being able to get the thrash ready here for round 3. Weaponry not too bad. With 3 Guardians, a Bulldog. Could take some of those nice long-range fights over at B from main towards Snowman if the wall is down. Alternatively, taking fights on A from the belt area to any players who may be peeking at the jump-up box from sight. But it doesn't look like anyone will be passively peeking from jump-up box on sight. It looks like Oxygen want to go forward here and take the fight to them.
You goddamn right. Redux playing close. Leo would have been great. Doesn't quite have the timing there as the 0 point came in, but still able to find a very cheeky kill and back up. Here's Thrash though. From the top screens, Mitch hoping to bring it down before it found its mark, but it connects with Redux. Silex desperately trying to follow up on it here, and you can see in desperation, Oxygen want to prevent this from happening. Redux leaves himself out once more. Now he's free from under rafters and takes another fight. Despite being detained, the Rain has found 2 kills in this round. B-Dog's pushed up very far, realizes as the smoke clears, it's time to back away. They have the spike plant. But Turtle Troop at a player disadvantage.
They have it planted for them. Stellar is in a tough position here. No one can really help him. Silex is going to attempt to take contact from 410. I think his barrel was just spotted there, though, Stellar.
No mosh pit available for Mitch, though, so has to clear this manually. Oh, yeah, it's easily done. Stellar brought down as a dark cover dumped right on top of his head. Then Silex here will be the one to try and interrupt alongside B-Dog. Very powerful position up on this high ground for B-Dog, but can't connect the Bulldog shots. And so the bonus does not come up for Turtle Troop. Oxygen finally getting into this half and only a few rounds away from that magic number.
They wanted to play a deep setup backside A. It seemed like, or conversely, they were only deep backside A because they really wanted to capitalize off Redux getting stunned by the thrash. Silex was trying so hard to get that kill, but was really getting scrambled. Missed the molly. Was trying to jump peek around the corner so he wouldn't go down. B-Dog was trying to get forward. And it all just falls apart as no one was able to get in a position to help each other effectively. Of course, they will still have the bye here.
Only aggression once more, as the ultimate orb was highly valued by Oxygen and Redux. Another freebie from that position is massive. The economy of Turtle Troop rides on this round, and so far they're off to an inauspicious start. All their pieces are committed to A. A lot of that KJ util over towards B. So early warning in place for Oxygen, and they are pinging out the approach of the Turtle Troop. 0 point finds nothing. Dizzy though gets a shot off. Going to be Mitch dropping down from the rafters here. Might have more than he can handle. Nice Dizzy though from the defenders and Redux on the spray through, but Mitch is there with the damage. The Bulldog claims 3. Bark and Bite both hitting a little diff. There's Oxygen go up to 11.
Such confidence from Mitch specifically to drop down back sight, throw the Dizzy so Redux can fight from screens. Verno just making his way as swiftly as possible to get into the site to help them. They did not want to give that up. No desire to play that for retake, even though they were in a 5v4. Again, that is such confidence from them and such confidence from Redux in all of these early rounds to continue taking these fights and hitting really, really good shots early on as well. Despite starting slow in the second half, it has not slowed down his willingness to play forward and take, risks. And not even that they're massive risks when he's on Reyna, right? They're dependent on him getting kills, and he's able to get them.
We've had him interviewed multiple times, and that confidence pretty evident. I think every time we've kind of spoken to him there, we did mention, right, at halftime, expect to see this Reyna get much more involved now. This has to be a Turtle Troop pause, probably to address these early aggressive pops from the defenders. Figure out how they can avoid losing that individual player, because they're doing it on both sides, Oxygen. We saw the two players stacked up at green a few rounds back, right, which didn't really go in their favor because, again, it was like an eco round from Oxygen, but they're willing to make these moves early, Wyatt. And that's an outlaw getting picked up from Redux, surely. Yes.
And it is. Redux loves that weapon.
What a round for it, man.
Alarm bot out.
Right there.
Absolutely. 4 light armors, Stellar buying up into the hero rifle here, actually down to 350. That's going to be early B main control for Turtle Troop. Some of that standard cyclable utility, the 0 point that goes to yellow, the Dizzy to go close to clear out green. They're going to have to deal with Dapper back there.
And one way is going to slow things down. Dapper's committed. He has not opted to back away, and Scooby's likely to get away with that one. The TP came in, and he has the reaction, the presence of mind to turn around and deal with it. Scuba eventually drops, but not before he finds 2 kills, and that is stunning from Dapper. 8 HP, all he needs to derail Turtle Troop one more time, and we're off to match point.
Match point.
So active at fighting on these defensive anchor positions are Oxygen. Dapper just working around yellow. Scuba knows that no matter what, he needs to fight with him here. He can't just play passively and let Dapper get overwhelmed. In all of these situations in which Oxygen are fighting on the sites, they are there for each other with such confidence in each other to pick up those missing angles. And crazy enough, Scuba coming into this game is actually the player with the best kills per round of anyone in this server.
Oh, there it is. You never know where it's going to come from. You just know for sure that Oxygen are going to go aggressive early on you. That anchoring, by the way, incredible. Something we didn't see from Turtle Troop at all. They played for retake constantly and gave up 9 defensive rounds in the end. Very quickly, we have the plant once more. Oxygen have to find a way in, and Thrash is going to pave it. Redux, this time under Empress, on the push in. Another leader to try and get him further in onto the site here, but it's been given up mostly by Turtle Troop. Oxygen are going to have to forge a little bit further ahead to try and clear them away from this. Corey, utility in hand, spotted briefly. That will force Redux off the spike here, but he's going to go ahead. He is going to take a fight. And I'm hardly surprised to hear that. There's another one. Dismiss up on pipes. Corey flattened from the high ground. It's 4 for Redux, and he's far from done. What an ace to finish it. Oxygen claim Icebox, and Redux reclaims his throne.
Defenders.
That is not human, and that is the reason why partnership teams are trying to get this guy into the league. They're trying to pick him up. That is outlandish from him. I'd love to see his stats at this point. At the end of the first half, Mitch, he was 5 for 12. How many first bloods did he get there even in the second half? What was that? 4 at least.
3 or 4.
Just taking that initial fight and the speed at which he was able to get his crosshair onto someone's head every single time was just so sick.
It's like it's the same dilemma we talk about, like Jets on Ascent, right? How it can be hard on the attacking side to like get out cleanly to find these easy picks and openers. And Redux had that same issue, but now defensively, he can play on the site. They anchored really well over on B. That's got nothing to do with him. But that early aggression here was something that B-Dog was trying to do on the side of Turtle Troop, but was trying kind of solo here. But the backup was incredible from Oxygen. They were vastly the better team on that kind of map here. And we head over to Bind for the next one, which Turtle Troop really struggled to close out against Blinn. I am definitely concerned for them in this series.
For sure. It's that Ban of Ascent, which is clearly their home map, where they have Adder on the deadlock, a very unique approach that has gotten them win after win after win this season. No one has been able to deal with that composition. The best way to deal with it, ban the map. And that is what Oxygen did. And it forces Turtle Troop to try and pick Icebox into them, which has been mixed in results previously. And at this point, with this loss, more negative than positive results. They're going to have to really rally back here on Bind.
Yeah, this is incredible stuff so far from Oxygen. Bind is on the horizon, but we're going to take a quick break, come back with their desk to break down The devastation we just saw, and look ahead to our second map.
If I was stuck on a deserted island, I'd wanna.
Jesus. Teammate I would not want with me is definitely. If I was stuck on a desert island, I'd have to take Nismo. You know, he's a dad like me, so we would find a way to make it work, and we'd probably get off the island successfully. The last teammate, probably Koala, I would say, and I have no reason why.
100% I'd want Nismo, because this guy's like, or Nitro, either one. Now that we have him, they're both like adults. They both like have a really good like knowledge on life. And the team that I probably wouldn't want is either BCJ or Xander, just because like we're younger, and especially me and Xander are just like both lazy people.
This is hard. Okay. The teammate that went with me is probably Nerve. He's a pretty hard worker and he's strong. Okay, he's a strong guy. So in terms of heavy lifting or getting stuff done, I think it'll be good. It's between Zeldris and Snarly for me. I don't think that they're going to work hard, and we're not going to work well together on the island. We're going to get into like arguments and disagreements and stuff like that.
I would take Corey with me, just because of one, his Rust experience, and two, we did play Raft as a team for a little bit, and he was probably the most like handy or crafty, I would say. So I'd hope that would shine through. Teammate I would not want to bring would probably be Weeded, Matt, just because I don't know, he talks so much. No, it's not a bad thing, but he watches a lot of TikTok, and I'm not a big TikTok guy.
The teammate I would not want with me is definitely Moobs. This guy's just like an NPC, so I wouldn't want him. And then the teammate that I would want, I'd probably say Jerk, because he's the oldest and the most mature. So he definitely would get us out of this situation.
Probably Vic. Vic or Mod, because Mod is tall, but I don't think even if you're tall, what do you like? He's not 13 foot tall. Like he's not going to be able to grab like a coconut from a tree. Probably just Vic. Vic works out a lot. He's buff. He's got the stamina. I see him. He's hitting the gym every day. So I think for sure Vic. And then who I wouldn't want to go with is probably Mac. Mac is our coach. I really can't explain it, but I just know I don't want to be there with him.
The game starts long before the game starts. And warm hands are faster hands. Gain the upper hand and power up your pregame warm-up with Zippo hand warmers.
All right. Well, Icebox, a little bit of an icy reception here for Turtle Troop, taking a loss 5-13 on their own map pick. Psycho, that's going to be Oxygen taking the first in the series, one away now from closing out the mid-season cup grand finals. And I don't know, they're looking pretty good right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's my troops. My troops let me down. I really, I know there's other troopers in the chat right now that we're hoping for a quick Icebox win, a quick 1-0 for the troop right now. But they were struggling, man. It really seemed like the more disciplined, the more structured play from Oxygen here really won out. And especially once we got to that defense side, Redux just kind of ran away with it on the A site, getting pick after pick, and it was something that the troop was unable to deal with.
You kind of had to play catch up from the get-go after you got ecoed on that second round as well for Turtle Troop, right? It looked so good when you started that pistol round, and the get-go throw that you saw a forward push coming out from Stellar was okay. They got everything that on the table and everything could work out, but you definitely saw the story got different. That structure that came into play, I feel that they had no way to answer onto Redux once Redux had the defensive side for Oxygen Esports on those pipes. And to get to what you're saying here, Don, you said that, they could play kind of loose here for TTR and it'll look pretty good, but I think it would have looked much better if you had a chance to allow these players to pug it out into roles that could actually activate them in that way. So if, for example, B-Dog was able to play a Jet and you're playing more of a standard comp, then yes, these guys could maybe frag out and maybe add more rounds against Oxygen Esports. And then when you're actually adding more structure, trying to play a double flash, adding an Omen on top of that to try to add that structure to play against Oxygen's Esports defensive side or attacking side, you saw there where there was a little bit of like... where B-Dog was maybe not as comfortable playing as an Omen. Even if he's an MVP for the team, I think that he would have been able to unlock even more if he played a Jet instead.
Yeah, and this is a team where traditionally we see them lean into comfortability and a little bit more wacky comps quite often. So to see them to try and force into this meta comp, so to speak, the no duelist, and take B-Dog off of the Jet that he's so comfortable on a map where Jet is still pretty viable if you want to run him. It's something that obviously was not working out for them in this last map. Maybe it was going a little bit differently in scrims. They were having some success, and that combined with the fact that Oxygen recently dropped this map to Moist was, giving them a little indication that, hey, maybe we should pick into this and get this W. But it did not turn out that way. I mean, B-Dog definitely looked a bit uncomfortable despite being the top fragger in the server. 12 kills is definitely not what we're used to seeing from B-Dog here.
And someone else that we have to be talking about over on the end of Oxygen here is Redux. Because going into this, we talked about his Reyna. Last time we saw it on Icebox, and yeah, Reyna definitely can be picked. Redux was a little quiet to be starting this one out, but once we got to the defensive Vans, I mean, Redux, every time it was like, surely you can't keep getting away with this, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. On the attack side, he had one role, which was protect the VIP. Get through the Viper wall, try to get that plant down there for Oxygen Esports, and then you let the rest of the team play the pulse plant and play perfectly. But then when it came down to him playing that defense, like I said, he was posted up on pipes every single time and just got a free kill. And when you're trying to find an answer against how he could play it, you try to throw a smoke there from B-Dog, but unfortunately, as I mentioned before, he looked a little bit more comfortable with the smoke. So the smoke still still allowed Redux to play around it, get a pick, and get away. And then it was just too late for Turtle Troop to try to catch up towards the end because Oxygen Esports just really ran away with it. You never really needed to put Redux in a different position than the A pipes because he was just finding so much success every single time.
Yeah, you touched on it there. I mean, it just looked like a bit of uncomfortability on B-Dog's end on the Omen. You know, that round where he's trying to smoke Redux off, you know, they just cannot find an answer for Redux on that pipe. You know, there's another round as well where, you know, B-Dog's rotating into the side. He throws the one-way on top of 410. He's trying to get in there, but unfortunately just gets a little bit mistiming there. A little bit of uncomfortability, I think, from that roll for him, and he just wasn't able to get a kill or get away. So, you know, I think he put up a valiant effort, but it's something that I'm concerned about going into bind, right? Because Redux absolutely frying right now. Looks absolutely enabled, and he's now transitioning. He's going to go from the Reyna straight onto the Raze on the bind, right? So this is an opportunity for him to continue riding that hot hand. Oxygen continue that riding that hot hand with him and utilize and enable their duelists to carry them through. Whereas again, B-Dog is going to be on the most likely on the controller for this bind map. Traditionally, he plays the Brimstone for Turtle Troop on this map. So once again, we're looking at a map where B-Dog out of his comfort zone, and we're going to have Corey most likely stepping up into this Raze that we've seen from him earlier.
I'll give you at least a bit of hope, as I know you're counting for TTR here, Don. So yes, B-Dog's going to play potentially here a Brimstone on bind, but the thing here that's good is that once you drop all your smokes, so you can't do anything else on Brimstone. What do? You have to frag out. So he'll just keep his gun out and hopefully frag it out.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we've seen how much damage he can do back in the day on the chamber on this map, right? So he's used to playing an extremity role. He's used to being a clutcher and a last alive guy. So it's not something where, you know, I underestimate him or I think that he can't pull it off. But it is interesting to see them going into another map where B-Dog's not on the duelist and able to be the highest fragging potential self that he is.
At least, even if we have a B-Dog that's maybe a little suppressed by the controller role, at least we are getting Corey on something that definitely is where he can shine, because the transition from the Yoru in the past that TTR has been running on here and going to the Raze instead has been really, really nice. And even talking to Corey a couple days ago about this, he was like, yeah, you know, sometimes you cook too hard, the cook bites back. So it's nice to see Turtle Troop in that regard kind of take a little bit more of a, hey, we're going to enable these players set up for success, even if it can't be perfect across the board. Agent select now, though, we're expecting this mirror composition coming on out, Aiko. So with Turtle Troop against the wall, it'll be really interesting with how this pans out.
Yeah, and there it is, getting the mirror comp as expected, and Brimstone, B-Dogging it up. Yeah, and then we get Corey on the Raze.
This is where it's going to be difficult still for Turtle Troop, though. Despite this is going to be a mirror composition, I still think that Mitch, with the calling that they did last time against MXS, being able to avoid Mata on that Raze, potentially even avoiding Corey on a Raze at this point, too, it might be very difficult right now for Turtle Troop to get their attack side activated. So you're going to have to really be on point with the calls coming out here from Stellar, and that Corey could find some value here out of this Raze.
Yeah, I have faith in Corey to step up and be the guy they need him to be here, right? And this may just be an instance where, yeah, they picked Icebox, but it might have just been an anti-pick against Oxygen, and maybe they feel a bit more comfortable on buying. I mean, this is a Turtle Troop who's been absolutely hot throughout the season, and even with the substitute going into the postseason here in the Midseason Cup, they've been absolutely frying. So, you know, I have faith in them to bring this back, and I still think this could be a close match.
I mean, if we're going to see a step up, it has to be now. Oxygen Esports just one map away from closing this out here in the Mid-Season Cup. Can they do it, or will we get a third map? Time to head on over to our casters, Uber and Wyatt.
Thank you very much, Desky. The message received very clearly. It's that Turtle Trooper have their backs up against the wall. And yesterday was a pretty definitive showing, I think, from Oxygen against MXS, right? Mitch, not only having a freaking great name, honestly, probably the best name on, yeah, actually it is in the world. Also, he is 7-0, first kill, first death. As a Sky player, right? He's taking so much of this early action, ends up with 369 ACS. Just a ridiculous showing. Now, you can't bank on that, Wyatt, by the way. Pretty good name. Not as good as Mitch, but solid. You can't bank on that here, but it definitely feels like Oxygen are very comfortable on a map like this, whereas Turtle Troop are going to make it work with a sub.
Oxygen's attack side was destructive against MXS. Turtle Troop's defense was fragmented oftentimes at best, you could say, against Blinn, where they last played this map. Things went really awry. It got so scrappy. And frankly, they were on the cusp of not even being in this position. If you remember, they won in overtime 14-12, and I think that came down to Blinn's inexperience in a deep situation like that, deep in the tournament showing. Turtle Troop are going to have to really step it up here. Oxygen are just going for this fast play down Fountain. And look at the passive setup from Turtle Troop.
They hear this. They pinged it all out. They know what's coming. That was going to be the lone player to receive this action. Corey was able to get into U-Haul properly and just try and do some work with the shorty, but Silence, beautiful swing. They knew Oxygen had pushed so far forward, and they're able to punish that overextension.
They've been absolutely baited. Corey now just waiting for the rest of his teammates to come from Octagon. The last TP is going to come through as well. Adder does have 2 flashes. They're trying to get into the site here. The wingman is going to go down.
Corey, though, he is absolutely in. Redux having to respond. Mitch found one as well. All of a sudden, we're even. Spike's out in the open here. Turtle Troop have to find out how they salvage this situation. That's nasty. Okay, all of a sudden, it's looking dangerous. Redux, though, on his own, has to play out around this mosh pit, and Stella is healthy. Oh my, that was clever from Stella. Beautiful swing. Redux didn't know what hit him.
Expecting that nade to come out, finds the perfect little timing to get that peak. Just a couple shots necessary on a half HP Redux. 3 pistol round wins in a row right now for Turtle Troop. They have not been able to capitalize off them. Last map started in this exact same scenario. They got ecoed, and from there, crumbled quickly. We'll see if they can have a more competent anti-eco to start off this second map. It is Oxygen's map pick. Backs are against the wall here. Be an early take of Fountain with that Dizzy. Pretty standard stuff. That recyclable utility.
Unsurprisingly, Turtle Troop more than happy to take that fight that Oxygen were looking for last round. Oxygen, however, priced into something a little more subtle. Namely, grouping up here behind this Viper wall. It's like they're going to insert Mitch in Octagon. No, he realizes there is a way to get out here.
Right there.
Oxygen don't want to spend too much of their resources too early.
Dapper is using that deep wall through Octagon that can feign players, you know, pushing to the right, hiding in that tuck corner by the teleporter, versus the more standard wall that actually goes through the TP and comes out on the other end of the map on Shower as well.
What is this? This is novel from Oxygen. They have all pushed out of hookah. I guess they're waiting for like a pivot player to make their way through and give them a gun. And a gun that can be recovered safely, no less. But they're not going to be rewarded. They hear these TPs and they say, okay, we can get a fast flank timing here to catch Silence off. He's ready for it though. Beautiful preparation. Silence, even the double swing, eventually able to bring him down. But it leaves Oxygen short-handed indeed. And the bomb is down. Spike rather planted. Scuba back into U-Haul on his own. And I like the thinking here. The calling is quite detailed from Oxygen. But they'll come up with nothing here again.
I like the Turtle Troop so swiftly went back down short to ensure that Bruno couldn't pick up that rifle when he put Silence 6 feet under. All right, Turtle Troop starting things off in better fashion than they did on Icebox. No doubt they carry over a few guns into this bonus. We'll see what they end up buying up around it. 2 key ultimates close to being active here in round 3. Redux has somehow managed, with only 2 kills, to be 1 orb off of Showstopper. Huh? That's kind of wild.
I don't know if he's just walking into showers every round. Unclear. Either way, Corey wants to do just that here. Nades from both sides, but Corey doesn't stick around to try and take away this ult orb just yet. Exchange of pleasantries and util underway as Turtle Trooper managed to get themselves over towards U-Haul, but the curtain comes down. at the wrong moment. And Redux just doesn't miss those. What a reaction. And a huge miscalculation from Turtle Troop sees the spike left out in the open. And B-Dog scrabbling for answers.
That just looks like a massive communication error from me. Or from Silence for me. From me. I'm actually in... my bad.
That's your fault.
Miscall from me on the wall. Oops.
Take accountability.
Sorry, Stellar. But that is a tragic miscall from Silence. I don't think he alerted Stellar that the wall was going to come down, or he didn't even realize himself. No one had eyes towards sight.
Adder's going to swing into this. Able to win it out, though. Nicely done. Now dealing with Dapper from the backside, but he's freed up. He can actually go and take this fight. The decay, though, the poison orb makes him think twice about it. He'll turn his attention back towards the spike's location. Redux in the smoke, but B-Dog had just the weapon for the situation. Mitch, though, won that fight out in showers, and again, the spike goes loose. Corey here knows there's nothing left to do. Turtle Troop at least can buy into the next round. But I don't really see this 1v3 playing out the way he'd like it to. And Mitch so disciplined, only now just starting to drift over from the B side. He knows his teammates have it on lock.
And that is just an unwinnable situation. Oxygen playing it in textbook fashion, waiting for each other to get a nice double swing. You could see what Turtle Troop were going for. It wasn't a bad idea. They had all of that early shower pressure. Corey pressing forward, satcheling in there. The Guardian spam through the wall. The Boombot just making a ton of noise so these guys could walk forward. But that wall drop timing,
devastating.
So mismanaged. It all falls apart. A perfectly fine round idea, but a tragic miscomm just puts it nowhere even close to winnable.
All right, this time, Turtle Troop want to play a bit of a default, but that's been disrupted already. Redux is, well, he's behind enemy lines, folks. I don't know how else to put it. This showstopper generates so much threat. He's able to walk straight through. And now how do you convert this map control? There's no real way to play off Redux in like a 1-2 situation. I think that's what Dapper's looking to do here now. Set up a crossfire or something. Should Turtle Troop try and reclaim?
And yeah, because of Dapper being able to push up, save his teammate, little rescue mission to get Redux out of treacherous waters. In the meantime, Adder had gotten this shower control very early. And off of that, Turtle Troop want to work back towards A. Not a bad call. The wall is going up here. Orb as well. Forces Scuba back into lamps. Really passive positions on A now for Oxygen, though they have gotten this rotate in from Redux to pick up Heaven.
They're going for it now. Here's the Dizzy. Corey satchels in. Doesn't hold the spike. Would like to fight in the backside, but might not be the flash Q tool to get in there. No. He's going to have to wait for the time being. Take a couple shots over towards Heaven, but there's a double up inside U-Haul as that's been reclaimed by Oxygen. Werner here trying to ward Corey away from reaching into the back of the site. But Turtle Troop get the plant. They get what they want there at least. Mitch is at 1 HP. A little bit of a dangerous spot here, but Oxygen do have the tools to take this retake. And it looks like they're going to go for it pretty quickly. Adder's going to be kept out of here. Couldn't trade for Corey as Verno brought him down. Now has to try and flash himself in and disrupt this somehow. And it's the lineup Larry's coming up. Mitch brought down by the Molly here. Redux trying to play the box. Verno at least good for a trade. And B-Dog found the timing. Makes it a 1 versus 2. B-Dog with a spray down. He's at 3 for the round. But Dapper's too canny. And the shots through the boxes eventually claim it. It won't be enough time, though, for the defuse. And Oxygen let that one fall away.
That is the essential Brimstone post-plant moment on this map. The Molly just lasting eons on the spike. You can never get it to half because it does so much damage. And it's just passive positions from Turtle Troop. Late swings off of that delay, making it look pretty easy. Redux economy in a really bad situation is bought down to 0, considering what to get. He had the Bucky there for a second, the Stinger there for a second, and Turtle Troop's economy, despite winning, just terrible as well. Absolutely in the bin. At the very least, though, look at how close they are to getting 4 ultimates. So even off deaths in this round, on the following for the full gun round, they will have everything in the chamber.
Well, they have Thrash at least, and Corey's going to use it to go straight over towards Octagon. Drops to the ground here. Stinger at long range, not as effective as he would have liked, but he can make enough space here behind that smoke. Throwing his util in. Trailblazer are also being committed. They want to try and overload here into these halls. A lot of damage being taken, though, and Dapper's able to spray 2 of those lightly armored players down. Another Trailblazer as Dapper would like to now extend his control. But a thrash at close range could be devastating. Mitch caught by them, but Dapper's going to be there to cover. That's elementary stuff. And now Stella has to try and fight his way out of this paper bag. It's too much. Dapper with 4 stat pat kills, and Oxygen get 1 back.
A fine idea from Turtle Troop there, sending that dog and the boombot at the same time through elbow. Of course, with those stingers, you just want to get into the short-range fight positions, but losing out to the superior weaponry and precise aim of the veteran Dapper, trying to work his way back to the top with this young, promising squad. They've just got the age-old recipe in esports to build up a team where you get a few veterans, bring in the new talent to build them up. And it's worked really nicely for Oxygen now. But as previously mentioned, with all of those Turtle Troop players on the cusp of getting ults, they got them. 4 online here, round 6, full buy for them. A great opportunity to get another round on the board.
We're going to start with the Seekers here. That's for Turtle Troop. Does at least confirm there's some presence over at the A site. Corey going to be held at bay for now. By that. What is this for Redux? Excuse me. Gets past the Seeker. Xilinx, though, making his life harder. Redux just overcooks that a little bit. He won't be punished for it, though. And he's able to spray Xilinx down through the wall. This was a full buy for Turtle Troop. With so many ultimates to use, Stella now has to bail them out. Wingman at least able to get this plant down. No chance for Oxygen to disrupt as they are all stacked here towards short. And B-Dog's looking for that late reframe. Oxygen are going to have to be quick about this because they're not going to be ready. But that push from behind. Stella swings it. Now it's going to be a 1 versus 3 and B-Dog's out of that post-plant stall util. He's got to go for the fight. Does have a rifle to work with and the element of surprise, which goes a heck of a long way. Let's see if it's enough. Okay, Trigger Discipline was there. Now Verno spots him out. Defuse underway as Redux gets it to half. Dapper waiting for the very low health Brimstone, who can't do it all on his own, and eventually will be brought down to even up the game.
I love that aggression from Oxygen. Not that they haven't pushed out of these extremities before. They started this game with a deep push from B. Redux on that previous round going all the way to market. But on a round where you can completely disrupt a massive set executes with ultimates, with pure aggression, running it down a big flank like that, I think it's a nice, confident call from Mitch and the right one to make. Not only do you break Turtle Troop's economy, you take 3 ultimates away from them.
Blinded.
Devastating. Turtle Troop here really don't have much to work with. They're not swinging off that dog. No way. Dizzy, though, might make them have a crack. Oxygen, proactive defenders, really like to get in their face. And here comes Redux through the TP with the Outlaw. And there ain't no sheriff that can get Turtle Troop out of this situation. Make no mistake. Xilinx here with nothing but a sheriff, as it turns out. And B-Dog is forced to wait for a push onto short with that judge.
It's so fearless from Oxygen. The teleport from Redux, just getting in the scrum outside showers. I mean, he was set up B long with the Outlaw so they could stack on the other side of the map. Oh, barely threads the needle through the smoke.
And there's just not much to do here. Verno now behind Wingman. A hand to guiding light gets punished by B-Dog, who was waiting for that. Scooby here still needs to respect it, but B-Dog gets a rifle, then has it quickly stripped from his hands. Now Turtle Troop would have loved to go into this next round with a couple of those ultimates, but they all got spent heavily. They'll have to rely on the thrash here and maybe a post-plant Viper's Pit.
Oxygen are ruthless in these early rounds, and it's putting Turtle Troop on the back foot as we go forward. It feels like at any moment, are they just going to triple push down long again? Combo flash with the Dizzy and the bird from the sky? Are they going to be set up for a shower crunch?
What's happening at short?
It looks like they're going to push down with this op now that Redux has picked up late in the game, just adding a new layer here for the defensive setups. Trying to see if someone from Turtle Troop just tries to contact up here. Not expecting this weapon to be present on the battlefield.
Redux trading it up from his Outlaw in the previous. Okay, B-Dog, good patience there from all of Turtle Troop, actually. And Oxygen, eventually, they just got cold feet.
Right there.
They had to go for something, and Mitch, uncharacteristically there, walks into that headshot. Thrash now on the prowl. Realizing, of course, that Hookah is clear. That was a shot over towards Showers. Redux eventually finding something with that operator. Now has a chance to fall back to A.
Careful here.
Interestingly enough, we are seeing players drawn over by Oxygen.
Thrash is going
Dapper has got that pit down there, so the rest of the team feel comfortable rotating. Another good thrash from Stellar. Not going to get any tags, but it's going to get a lot of space and information for the team. Look at how quickly they've scaled up off of that. And that spike is going to get down to these.
We're in full pulse plant mode here. Something needs to be done about the Brimstone. B-Dog has just the one molly to work with. And a better rifle now as he upgrades it. Dapper gets caught as he tries to lurk. Doesn't quite have the timing now, and the Viper's Pit is here as well. So both of those aforementioned ultimates for Turtle Troop finding value in this round. Redux has a showstopper, but also an operator. It's an awkward combination. And yeah, the ladder doesn't really get anything there as he has to switch to the shorty. Showstopper also didn't connect. Corey gets brought down by his own teammates Molly. It actually evens up the numbers here. But Oxygen still need to do something about this spike. Scuba, he's got to be covered at the very least, but B-Dog is there. Good trades for Turtle Troop. And that's a hard-fought round.
Stellar only had a millisecond there to actually get the kill on the diffuser. Quick on the trigger. And Turtle Troop do a good job working the map off Stellar also, just using the thrash to clear space across the map. And you did see how passive Turtle Troop were there because of how Oxygen had been playing. It was 40, 50 seconds into the round until they actually started clearing space, and that was also only after Mitch went down to that precise Bulldog scoped in burst fire from B-Dog. Odin. A flash comes through. That is going to keep Adder at bay.
To be fair, the positioning of Oxygen there did suggest a potential Showers crunch.
For sure.
Just a fake, though. As once more, Hookah will be cleared out. Turtle Troop expending a lot of util on this part of the map especially. Trying to give them a staging ground to head into B.
And it is going to drag one rotate. Verno's made his way off A, going through spawn right now towards B.
Tense moments now at the minute mark. We are tied up here in this second map of the series. Hey, Mitch gets that info. There's a player playing slowly on long. What does this imply? Verno definitely has his head turned towards Hookah. And a couple of shots ring out now. So we have contact. Dapper obviously always a risky spot to play from, but allows them to overload. And here comes those Seekers to confirm that A might be where Turtle Troop want to end.
And Turtle Troop, they just want to beat the pace of those Seekers, get into the site before they even arrive. Beat the rotators in that case as well.
Plant's going to come down. Scuba wants to disrupt it here, but does he have the molly timing?
Spike planted.
Not quite. A little bit too late. Stella was also able to get right into U-Haul here, and once more, Oxygen have to play from the backside. Dapper again is on the lurk. But as usual, Turtle Troop are wise to it. But will they be ready?
If B-Dog gets one kill here, he's going to have the ult for the post plant, drop that nuke on the spike.
Dapper's good for the flank kill. Redux playing close. Shorty goes to work. Just two left now. B-Dog here, disrupting that plant of the defuse rather. Verno down to 6 bullets, but that's enough to get the job done. And eventually, the post plant setup for Turtle Troop is unraveled, and Oxygen can keep 4 of these weapons into the next, including an operator.
Really nicely done from Dapper, finding the perfect timing to flank all the way through the attacker's spawn. Catch Silence completely unaware. Split B-Dog's attention into who was that pivotal player. Of course, he has his ult into this round, but if he had gotten it in the last, been able to pick up one of those kills, either fighting forward or trading for Dapper, that could have been the round-winning move. But ultimately unable to do so with his attention cut in half. Redux has picked up that operator again. Going to face B long and on the opposite side of the map. That's going to allow Oxygen to go for a shower control.
Skyflash is traded. No one really on the attacking side at least trying to take control of that. This time Scuba is actually going to be posted up in Hookah. So we're going to see a lot of that same util being cycled into that room. The Molly, though, holds Turtle Troop at bay. Stella, though, still able to, of course, recover that Dizzy. And they pull out for a moment. Silence. Get some action there. Nicely done. Okay, that opens up some options here. 2-2 split for the defenders over these sites now, as Hookah is still going to be a hot spot for this action. There's a Dizzy. they come.
Redux.
Jump it out. Mitch is going to be there. Oh, it's too easy. We really hyped it up. We really added that suspense there, but eventually it all breaks down. And Mitch gets 4 comfortable eco frags. Silang's hoping for exits here. We'll get the one. And then you expect the spray to come in straight after.
30 seconds left.
And Oxygen here about to build a good economy going into the end of this half, Wyatt.
Absolutely. A good effort from Silence early in the round. He timed that sound cue, the Dizzy being picked up to take a 1v1. But ultimately, at the end of the day, the weaponry far too superior for Oxygen. You know, Turtle Troop had a bit of a shot with that B execute. Operator once again taken. Mitch carries it over, throws it over to Redux. We'll see where he's going to post up coming into this round. Of course, they are anti-eco kills, but it has to be said again how much Mitch has stepped up for Oxygen in the playoffs individually. Not just being that IGL, but being a significant part of the fragging. He was on Bind last time where he went 23-9, 7 first kills, 10-5 right now.
And he's looking for a lot of action, Wyatt, on that B long. A couple of rounds, he got punished for it. Oh, love that. Okay, so potential showers crunch being read by Turtle Troop. Redux, though, of course, has the mobility to get out, but still the audacity to swing again. And Ada punishes. Oh, this is huge. Corey gets his way all the way into U-Haul. This is going to be a very, very, very difficult retake based on the map that is accessible to Oxygen right now.
It was a lovely decision from Turtle Troop to accelerate down short. Well, that brawl took place over by Shower, the attempt at the crunch going awry. They get the site for free. They get that deep space on it. And they're going to get themselves 5 rounds here with Corey shutting things down, getting 1 orb closer to the ultimate 2. We'll see if they fight
Last
over
round
one of those
in the
early
half.
orbs coming into this round. Have that showstopper for an execute. Perhaps in tandem with the Thrash that Stellar has active here too. Some really good pieces, and B-Dog has actually grabbed that operator. I'm not sure if he had enough to have a rifle dropped on the ground too, or if he's just going to go all out here. Obviously, we've seen all playoffs how talented he is with that weapon. All of Turtle Troop stacked towards A here.
He just bought
fast play.
He just bought armor and util, I think, Wyatt. So that weapon dropped for him. He's making use of it. All right, we see the mosh pit being set up now. Thrash on the way in. Corey! Oh, he just contacts it raw. And Redux punishes. All right, we do have the circuit being run there. Scuba gets caught out. Can anyone cover this? Scuba's able to find Ada, though. That is beautiful. Nicely done with that orbital strike. And the opportunity to follow up on the detained. Scuba managed to ferret himself away inside Showers now, and B-Dog has to go looking for it. Finds it with the operator. It's awkward, though. Now he has to walk his way on out. And Oxygen look like they're good for 7 rounds here, easily enough. Solid defense here as Turtle Troop have thrown every look under the sun at them. But a lot of this early aggression seems to have decided many of these rounds.
Much like Icebox, these early peaks from Redux paying off massively, finding many first bloods, dynamic with the positioning, getting on top of the truck, not something he's shown at all in this half.
Switching sides.
A good way to close things out. We'll see if Oxygen can finally win a pistol in this series. It's been 3 in a row for Turtle Troop, but ultimately it just hasn't mattered yet. Oxygen's gun round play has been so superior.
I mean, it says a lot, right? I mean, what this game would have looked like had Oxygen just straight up won that pistol. A very different story. Turtle Troop with some decent innovations, right? They are mixing it up, but Oxygen have this play style wide that seems to unseat them really frequently. And we know how slow they like to play on their attacking sides as well, which is in stark contrast to the proactive defenses in the early round.
B-Dog has full kit of smokes right now. Those will be useful for a retake situation. Silence just playing contact, ready to molly and try and run. Luckily, that flash came in and Redux might have caught it first.
They're going for it still, though. Here's that raw aggression once more. Redux gets up into that cubby position, but Mitch gets brought down as the flank comes in through TP and Hookah. Silence waiting in Octagon. Brings down Scuba. It's a dodgy one for Oxygen, I'll say that much. Redux now has to try and bail his team out once more. They're going 0 for 4 in pistols over 2 maps. That is basically guaranteed here. Giving them, making their job a lot harder than it otherwise needed to be. Redux here in a 1 versus 4. The spike is dropped outside of Octagon, so crossing to that is going to be extremely difficult. There's nothing else to do than to go for it. And he will. Arrow, a shot to the kneecap there for B-Dog, but it's not enough. And Turtle Troop get within 1 round.
And to be frank, you've got to be winning a map when you're getting 2 pistol round wins here. They have to get another successful anti-eco. They've done it in the first round, excuse me, but it was their undoing at the beginning of Icebox. They're going to have a judge bought up for Stellar, playing passively over there in Lamps. Corey's picked up the Outlaw as well. No one on Oxygen really going to be punished from that. Verno does have a Sheriff here, so his economy getting a bit low. Might be forced onto a light armor where the Outlaw can thrive.
All right, Oxygen pull out of showers here. Don't fancy crossing that expanse onto the A side against better weapons. And going back the long way, Corey, though, in the exact position, by the way, that he was punished by Redux in one of those last rounds of their attacking half. And in the same manner, just punishing contact with a scope weapon. And out towards long. Adder is just shoulder peeking this, so he's going to see it all. And Turtle Troop are going to be ready.
Yeah, just spot that out, fall back, play it smart. Has Silence in tow to help him out. To play close. Silence and a deep angle, but gets flashed. Potential trouble here, Silence. Able to pick that angle right back up, though.
Yep, Verno flashed. Adam more than happy just to waste time here as we're down to 40 seconds. Verno says, you know what? I'll go through the TP. Don't think I won't. A long way away from any help and the spike. Just prolonging this one for our enjoyment. Estella will finish the job. The gavel comes down and the judge sings out. We are even at 7 apiece.
We do know that Corey has a penchant for picking up the scoped weapons on this map. Was opping round after round after round against Blinn the last time they played Bind on defense to extremely varied success. But he starts it off nicely with a clean flick onto Dapper. Mitch, light armor. Verno, light armor. Something to keep your eyes on, depending on where Corey is going to be posted up here.
Okay, flash. Very illuminating. Oh my god. This is a problem. Great early aggression from Turtle Troop. Over towards that B-long position. Behind the flash. And there was nothing Oxygen could have done. Now they lick their wounds and work on plan B.
And that right there is why I love one player picking up the Outlaw on second rounds after winning the pistol. If the economy gets even a little bit messed up for the opposing side and you get some of those one-shots, you get ever closer to winning the bonus round, which is of so much significance. You get such an advantage off of it. Taking Lamps against this judge is going to be a nightmare. Trading out for this weapon is difficult and so frustrating.
B-Dog. Okay. Gets a bit of a warning there, down to 42. Corey here, work cut out for him. Verno is susceptible, of course, to this Outlaw. There's a couple of those heavy shields on the side of the attackers. Stella posting some marshmallows and waiting for an opportunity to spring forth with that judge. We are in the post-plant scenario here, but all of Oxygen are playing in on the site here. Now out of showers they go. Scuba's able to bring Silence down. Flash here, Corey caught by it. Doesn't see Redux there on top of the truck. Fortunate for him, he's able to stay out of that line of sight, but now down to 3. Turtle Troop have to make a play. They've got to come aggressively, and that's going to be the scope weapon out of the mix, but it doesn't matter. Adder's there for 2. Now the 1 versus 1. Adder steps up. He wants the fight, but Scuba's ready for it. 3 kills for Scuba, and Oxygen fight their way out of what could have been disastrous gameplay.
That movement is so smooth from Scuba, baiting out the shots, jiggling back and forth, swinging a bit wider to get that kill onto a crouched Adder. It doesn't get easier than that. Such a talented individual player. 14-9. I believe was 15-10 on the first map. That convincing win on Turtle Troop's pick, Icebox. That little team flash as well, Mitch. The pain of knowing that Redux more than likely would have gotten killed by Corey peeking heaven with the Outlaw, eats that flash from Adder. And then Redux, I believe, gets 2 following up off of that.
Yeah, I mean, and Corey's forced to satchel out of heaven there to make something happen. So a little bit frustrating for him, I'm sure. But for Oxygen, they're by no means out of the woods here. Their economy was shaky coming into this round. They only maintain 1 weapon. So they are probably still going to be on a very awkward looking buy. This is a bit of an inflection point, this kind of round here. Yes, I too get up just as the round begins. And you can see here some of the guns. Yeah, we're down to like half armor, a lot of players. B-Dog, again, brings the Outlaw in. Great round for it.
Redux, 2 satchels, a judge.
Breathe deep.
You can clearly see the world in which he'll be using all 3 of those items to get in someone's face to find an opening, or at the very least create space for the players that do have rifles to trade off of him.
You see this from Silanx. This is how he plays the B side. It's an early post up inside hookah, but he'll give that space up happily behind a snake bite. And Oxygen still don't know if that is clear. Good info though. Down long, spotting absolutely no one. Adder's able to get those Seekers online.
Now, also just Turtle Troop being aware that they dealt so much economic damage to Oxygen, there will be light armors. B-Dog has the Outlaw too.
Yeah, really nice call. And there is only 2 sets of heavy armor to play with. Oxygen here up a map in this series, and we expected them to kind of roll over this one, but Turtle Troop are tenacious. They got that dog in him. And Dapper's got that lead in him, apparently.
This rotate is coming fast from Turtle Troop as well. 2 players right back to the A side. The Seekers are going to give all of the info. They have full shower control because B-Dog just walked up, posted up so early.
This is going to be ugly, Wyatt. Here comes the plant, though. Oxygen able to get that one down. Despite the presence of that mosh pit, they're still able to position around it. Redux here with an aid to try and clear that corner. For Stella onto the side proper. He's happy to acquiesce. Redux, though, could still be a problem here as Verno brings that unseated player of Stella. Nicely done. The paint shells for Redux getting a ton of value, and he knows there's a player up on top of truck. Excuse me, Scuba did 2v3. In Redux goes, gets a better weapon, upgrades, and B-Dog now at large still with that Outlaw. Dapper has the timing, and he has the kill. Now on the post-partner molly over towards it's going to be a problem for Adder. He's sticking it. He's sticking it all the way. He's going to survive it too. Oh my goodness, 20 HP. That's going to hurt, Dapper.
Both of them get away with their lives. Both economies crushed from that round as well, Mitch. Adder, the hero for Turtle Troop. He went on that late flank, came through market, had the backstab, and at the same time, I believe Silanx was facing onto the site here. Yeah, it was Silanx facing when Adder came in, crunching Scuba. Nicely done. Great swing timings from Turtle Troop, but...
I just love that Adder knows he can tank that molly and just stick it. In such an important round, that is huge. And they've been rewarded for that now by having, yeah, it's a weaker buy, but they have far better weapons than Oxygen have to work with. Just a hero rifle for Dapper.
One down.
Okay, great angle for Silanx. This time not actively playing inside hookah. Bit of a variation for him defensively. Here they come. Oxygen have got to go for it anyway, but Corey's going to catch Redux in midair. Clay pigeon shooting. And Oxygen are now out of options.
They just love this Outlaw, but the game is presenting them with situations where it continues to be good, so why not take advantage of it? Mitch is able to dodge out of the way of the Trailblazer there from Adder, but nonetheless, Corey's just going to maintain this position with the Outlaw. No reason to fall off of the angle.
Flash might give him some reason, but it doesn't even catch him, and he swings back out into it anyway. Limbering up, of course, those knee joints. Good idea. We might be in for a long game here if Turtle Troop keep finding success on this map. B-Dog will wait. That's 1 and 2. Spike down. Round over. Flawless for Turtle Troop.
Gets a free little weapon upgrade at the end there as well. Nicely handled. That shot from Corey is pretty absurd. Listen, Redux was doomed no matter what, but they deal with him in the most stylish fashion possible. All right, Scuba has the orbital strike. He has the molly. 2 pivotal post-plant pieces of utility. Could be the linchpin and an Oxygen round win here.
Corey just tanks that. Wanted to hold the line as Oxygen are in a full default setup. A Viper's Pit. How far do Oxygen dare to delve into this part of the map? There's no way they're getting silenced with a wayward shot.
Wow, B-Dog is pushing up here on his lonesome with this Outlaw.
So aggressive.
It's a sound cue in market. Those hefty boots of the Brimstone herd. Man sounds like an elephant when he's running around. Yvadder just jump spotting to keep some eyes on B while Silence controls long.
Oh.
If they all spill out of hookah, how are they going to route Silence out of that pit, though?
That flash, though, has drawn 2 players over. Orbital strike. Get him away from it. And are going to be caught by the flash here, and Redux drops down. The flash from Turtle Troop there does bring the players over from A. The defenders do arrive, but it's a little too late. Nice fast hit from Oxygen. Trailblazer here. Just how far up elbow have they pushed? The answer is not that far yet. Redux off angle. This is a very good one. Showstopper available. Just really not necessary, but being forced away by the molly. Doesn't get punished as he crosses. Dapper's going to be there off angle, taking Corey down to a sliver of health. Turtle Trooper in deep trouble here. Economy is at a point where they can still try and fight for this round. It looks like B-Dog has that in mind, but Dapper's got no reason to push. B-Dog steps up, swings, takes the shot. Bit of economic damage here for the defenders is the best they could really hope for. Estella will step forward. And he will perish in the blast here. We're at an even game once more.
Able to at least claim one more orb. I like that little attempt from B-Dog. It was cute to throw a molly in the corner, maybe get a kill on the cross, maybe get one back so they can spill into the site. But ultimately, it's always a risk, I think, inherently when you use the orbital strike earlier in the round, given how valuable it is to lock up a round when you can delay with the molly as well in a post plant. But it was the perfect decision to force Silex out of that pit. Gets caught on his way out. A great call from Oxygen.
Now again, they have a showstopper to supplement a fast hit. They're going to use it straight away. Where's Silex? Redux doesn't see him. The second satchel will get him there. And he can't connect it. That is ugly stuff. Still, Oxygen are going to commit. They may as well. And they've done well to even up the numbers here. Honestly, that could have gone either way. They could have gone horribly. Okay. Orbital strike. Not quite fast enough from B-Dog to interrupt the plant. Of course, he isn't in a position to hear a sound cue. He's too far away. He did his best, but it's not going to be enough. A double swing here. Or a setup, at least, for Turtle Troop to threaten the plant position. And I love this. Through the vent goes the Dizzy. Spots nothing, though. As Corey realizes the site's been badly vacated, so he's got to push a little bit further. Thrash, did he tank the rocket? It's unclear. But Scuba has the spray down on B-Dog as he tries to go for a defuse, and Corey might expose his back here. Scuba gets out of hookah. Corey sprays, finds Mitch. Here's another defuse attempt, and Verno cuts him down. Breaks through 2 players, including the diffuser. And now Turtle Trooper in dangerous waters.
Verno needed to win that out after he stunned Mitch with the thrash.
Oh, that's what happened. Oh.
Yeah. So listen, at least he wins it out. He redeems himself. All is well.
I don't know.
That would
some things you don't just let go because you win the round, you know what I'm saying? They might table that one for later.
Yeah, they'll save that one for after the win. Time to focus up and bring this thing home. Finally, in a lead here.
Another really flash.
A bad buy.
Yeah, just the Guardian. That's the best they've got. Stellar at least has the Thrash. And Oxygen are encroaching on those Seekers. And a round like this could be very, very handy. Make sure you make an informed decision. Okay. Hello, Redux. He touches down with a flourish. And it's a perfect 10 from the judges. Not one lick of damage taken. And comfortably, we ease into the post plant as Stella posts up inside tube and is spotted. And is sprayed. Oh, man. This is a tough one for Turtle Troop.
Pure individualism from Redux. He beats his own team's utility into the site and gets both kills. I mean, of course, would have been traded off of no matter what, but...
Sometimes you just got to go, man.
Has to get a couple style points back after Corey hit the midi on him with the Outlaw earlier in the game.
All right, B-Dog gonna have a crack at this, but there's a molly in place on the site. Corey finds one with the Sheriff. B-Dog has 0 time now as all of those mollies coming in one after another.
You want more?
Turtle Troop only get 1 gun away. Dapper, yep, is able to upgrade from that Stinger into the next round here, and it's got to be here for the troop. They've got the money. They only have the Thrash to lean on. It must be a defensive success.
Turtle Troop going to take the time out here. Without a doubt right now, they are the best unsigned team we have in America. Making it to the finals of the midseason playoffs with a sub at that. Silence stepping in for We Did, who you could argue was their best player in the regular season. Top fragging right now for the team. And just his third game with them. Up against Oxygen, the team that had the highest expectations coming into this season, didn't meet them during the regular season, and have now worked themselves back up to the top where everyone sees them as the team that should be there. Redux turning up here on Bind. One of the promising stars of the Challengers scene. Listen, this isn't a position, excuse me, we haven't seen Turtle Troop in before. To get to this point, they were down late on Bind against Blinn, rallied back at the very last moment. They're going to have to do the exact same here against an even tougher opponent.
Yeah, it's not beyond them. That is for sure. But I love that story about Oxygen, right? Really peaking at the right time if you're wanting to take this mid-season cup by storm. And remember, the lion's share of $17,000 up for grabs here. And 6 circuit points, which is huge. It's going to determine whether or not you are part of those Challengers finals, which of course lead to Ascension. The one thing on all of these teams' minds. Hookah cleared, well and truly. We're going to have Thrash putting Fear of God in Oxygen. And will be recovered now as Turtle Troop can scale in behind that. But we're looking over towards A here. Nice Mosh. Dapper's got to push through it now. The Seekers should confirm some close presence over towards the B side of the map. But outside of that, they don't do too much. Stella's down, though. He was at the back of the site. A Viper's Pit 3 plant goes down to cover the site location.
And Molly comes in at the right time, though. To destroy the wingman.
Now it's awkward. Planting within the cover of the pit is by no means a safe endeavor. The player advantage should give Oxygen some room to breathe. There is a late reflank potential for Mitch, but he's not gone for Showers. Oxygen know that part of the map belongs to the Turtle Troop right now.
And the problem is Turtle Troop, they don't have a boombot, they don't have a dog. How are you going to get these players out of the pit? How are you going to fight them?
And they simply cycled Wingman, who can't get it done either. 17 seconds left on the round, but B-Dog is down, and now Showers control belongs to Oxygen. They've got to now, Turtle Troop that is, take so many risks in interrupting this plan, and they can't do it. It's not possible. Silang's the last one to the fight, and he's caught on the wrong side of that molly. Realizes that's a bonfire. Following the execution of Turtle Troop over on that A site, there is no chance for him to get in. He has to go for it, though. Saving this gun just seems insufficient for the time being. But with that poison orb in the way, it's the best he can do. And even that's not enough as Verno comes down on him like a ton of bricks.
Oxygen on the cusp
Match point.
of the victory here in the grand finals for the mid-season cup. They've stepped up so much here in the playoffs. Such a fantastic team that we've got here in North America. Just bubbling below the partnership league, looking like they can contest in it in the future if they can keep this momentum deep into the season, into stage 2. Win Ascension. 4 Guardians, 4 Turtle Troop coming into this round. 1 Vandal for Silex. B-Dog's got himself boosted up here in the corner. Corey back on that truck to keep eyes on short. This is an unorthodox setup for Turtle Troop for sure.
Oh, Mitch! He might have done it with that one play. Adder and Silex go a little too deep on long and get punished. What patience. What patience from Oxygen. And they now can chill. A 5v3 and much of the map at their fingertips. The world is their oyster. And they slowly will head over towards this B side.
They have that Thrash to work with. They're going to play this safe, slow, calculated. Stellar catches the first.
Good for one. Nice little dizzy, but the timing's not quite there. It's too late. No one at B right now for Turtle Troop, and Thrash will confirm this. In fact, Oxygen kind of feel that way anyway. They don't send that Thrash very deep. And then remember, the util is on B-Dog. He's got a lot of it to work with. Gonna have to smoke this side out to give them even the slightest chance of getting in, but Corey just contacts straight up through that door. He knows that Oxygen are playing full post-plant setups here. And there's the smoke to cut Redux out of the fight. Thrash, though, back in once more. Dangerous for Corey. They spot B-Dog now playing from that cubby. It's going to be a 1-for-1. All up to Corey now. The Intrepid, the Vibes Merchant, self-professed, has to find a way in, and it's not to be. Oxygen tie up the series 2-0 and become your mid-season champions.
Cleaned up at the very end by Dapper, a man who's been on top, the winner of the first international LAN in Valorant. Now trying to rise back up the ranks, get back into tier 1. An impressive showing from him. Such a well-executed game plan from Oxygen, not only here on Bind, but on Icebox as well. Looking like the team that the community expected them to be after thrashing the other tier 2 teams during the offseason, even claiming wins against partnership teams, and now being at the top where they certainly belong. It's just a team that feels like they're almost destined to make it to the Ascension tournament at this point, Mitch.
And this is a big deal because given Oxygen's placings, throughout the group stage, they only had like 6 or so circuit points, right? The top teams right now are like at 10 to 12. So it's a big deal to be able to catch up to them now. Oxygen have catapulted themselves to the front of the pack. This is what I mean about peaking at the right time. They've made up for a middling stage 1 entirely with this performance, and they look fantastic. That first map, I mean, it wasn't particularly close, right? That first half, it was a 9-3 and at a 13-5. I will say Bayern was scrappy. On a couple of occasions, I think that, we saw Oxygen getting punished, especially for some of this aggression towards B-Long. But I love their defensive sides. They're really proactive. They get so much done there. Really impressive squad. And it's great to see them come alive. That Group A now looks absolutely terrifying.
Absolutely. I'd love to give a lot of credit here as well to Scuba. Coming into this game, he was the player in the server that had the highest kills per round of anyone. And I think often is not talked about enough on this Oxygen team. When you have a big name like Dapper and you have Verno and Redux, who so many people are looking at as players that can be the future of Valorant in America, when frankly, they're just old enough to play in partnership, right? But it's Scuba who's been such a star for this team as well and really deserves more credit, I feel.
100%. We're going to throw the desk now to break this down. A fantastic 2-0 victory from Oxygen, but a lot of minutiae, a lot of small things well worth digging into here.
First off, have to be kicking off with a big congratulations to Oxygen, mid-season cup champions. Doing it in 2-0 fashion as well. Psycho, are you holding in over there? Are you doing okay?
I was holding it out for my troopers, but they just didn't look like they came in with the fire today. And Oxygen, as Vincili has talked about, the structure
had more air.
Yeah, had more air. They were a little bit more inflated, so Oxygen stocks on the rise.
Yeah, sorry, 2 dads on the desk.
Vans is like, this was a 2-game series. I gotta fit in as many dad jokes as I can. This was an hour shorter broadcast than I expected. But the Oxygen, looking to speedrun this one. And honestly, you're right. They came into here with so much fire. I mean, this is an Oxygen that was a couple ups and downs during the split. But Vans, looking at this, all of those problems kind of melted away in my mind. They're looking great.
It came down to those rounds where pistol rounds, it could be anybody's game, and whoever wins it, you get like some very scrappy rounds from beginning to the end as soon as you get your economy right, which is, I do agree with what Uber was saying before. So many scraps happening in the beginning, but once you finally started getting your economy right and you understood a little bit more how your opponents were like working the map, Mitch did some amazing calls here on both defense and the offensive side. This, as you just saw the outlaw shot coming out from Corey, that was the pain point to Oxygen Esports going into that second half. But once you started figuring out, okay, the ults are ready and how they kind of worked that map on defense. Mitch had great opportunities to like make some great calls to fight behind ults, had great opportunities to just avoid the shots coming out from Corey at the same time. Some great lurks came out from Dapper too, and you're starting to see like the great complete Oxygen Esports roster that everybody was hyping up from the beginning of the season going into the current state of them winning the mid-season cup.
Yeah, for so long we've been looking at this Oxygen team as a favorite, right? You know, in the offseason, Wyatt touched on it. They were just absolutely dominant, even taking wins off of partnerships teams, let alone not even letting any tier 2 team get close to them. So this is something where it's good to see them have a bit of a return to form here in the mid-season, right? And, you know, we touched on it going into the match. There's the battle of the IGLs here between Stellar and Mitch, and Mitch just came out on top here. I mean, the way these guys took space, worked the map, their defaults were, just looking absolutely well fleshed out. Mitch had a total grasp on, especially on T side, how their CT or how their defense rotations were going to look like, always hitting into the correct sites. The trades were nice and tight. People playing close and being tradable. So this is an Oxygen team that going into the rest of the season is going to be very tough to beat.
It's a really exciting time to be an Oxygen fan out there, and it's really nice too to see, exactly, you touched upon the core of this team kind of sticking together and being able to show Vans that pushing through everything together, where they only had one change coming into this season, but there's some really skilled players here and a lot of potential for this team moving on forward.
I mean, for sure, with TTR, if you're looking at them, they were still top of their group going into stage 1. They're still second place going to the mid-season cup. That means they still have a lot of points and in a comfortable spot, so that even when Weeded comes back, I mean, before we talk about Weeded, let's just talk about how good Sonics was as well, right? And I hope that he gets an opportunity at some point to get an opportunity to shine as well, whether it's challengers or partnership or whatnot. But now that Weeded's able to come back into stage 2, and he was already the highest rated or second highest rated player that Don mentioned before we started the show, I think this is going to be some great potential and some great outcomes we're going to see out of Turtle Troop going into stage 2, and even potentially seeing them in the challengers playoffs and see how that's going to pan out when they're going to make it to the finals, hopefully again.
I mean, if this mid-season cup has taught me anything, it's that this is so much more competitive than I think was given credit to, just looking across all of these teams to keep kicking things off, which is so great as we head on forward more. Of course, it's time to celebrate Oxygen, so we're going to be having an interview with Mitch up real shortly, so don't go off too far.
They say in life, there are no guarantees. They say a lot of stuff like that. Slow it down. Play it safe. Hedge your bets. So what? You gonna listen to that? You gonna stop because they can't guarantee you'll pull this off? No guarantee you'll win? No guarantee everything's gonna be fine? In life, you make your own guarantees. Nobody else will light your way. Start your own fire and keep it burning. And we guarantee you'll have one hell of a lifetime.
Oxygen Esports to become your mid-season cup champions with a 2-0 victory over Turtle Troop. And on the line to chat a little bit more about that, we have Mitch. First off, I have to say huge congratulations to you and the squad. The split, I mean, ending up third place, but being able to come out on top in this mid-season cup down, taking down everyone. How are you and the team feeling?
I mean, the win feels great. Honestly, we were struggling a little bit in split one, and it feels good to be like after a boot camp. We had a week boot camp and right before this, and we got back into form. We touched up on the discipline, and everyone bought into the system, and it really paid off. So it feels really great.
I'm glad to see that the boot camp is paying off here, as it was definitely a really great performance coming out in this finals. This core as well for Oxygen. This is one that we saw going back to last year, only one change coming into this year. So how does it feel to be kind of reinvesting in that same talent and show that sticking together with this core can have like these great payoffs?
I mean, yeah, we knew we needed a fifth player, and adding Dapper was, the best thing we could have done because he's so intelligent and he's honestly like a really good teammate, and he adds so much value to the team. So we knew we were sticking with us four for sure, but yeah, we needed to fill that role, and he was the perfect fit.
I mean, the core four and the addition of Dapper has definitely been proving so great so far. I want to talk a little bit about this final series and first talk about this Icebox picks, because it was something that we saw Oxygen play yesterday, and it wasn't necessarily the same performance that you had here today. Do you think this was an attempt to maybe try and catch Oxygen off guard, and how did you make sure that you were able to overcome the difficulties you had yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure why they picked it. It's probably because of yesterday's result, but we've been pretty confident in Icebox on scrims. Obviously, with our first match, there's going to be like some problems that we need to, touch up on, and it really showed. Like Moist played really well on Icebox. They played really, really confident. They were deathballing everywhere, and we went back and made some adjustments. And obviously, we're not going to be the same team as yesterday, so yeah, we kind of just rolled with it.
I mean, where you're able to be kind of fixing those mistakes definitely paid off. And I want to talk about Redux then on this Reyna for the map, because that definitely seems something, especially when he got to the defensive end, that it was just paying off in dividends. And it was a pick that we were kind of curious about. So I'd love to hear how you're able to kind of build around that when we're looking at this Icebox to enable the whole team for success today.
I mean, the discussion basically went, what's our comfort picks? And we just played our comfort picks on the map. So I think with Icebox, anything is viable right now. There's no like true meta comp, and you could, there's a lot of creativity to be had. So we kind of just said, all right, let's roll with the Reyna. Let's try it out. It worked really well in scrim. So we rolled with it in matches too.
Hey, it's working in scrims. We got to see it work in the grand final, so it's definitely really nice to see. I want to make sure you can go celebrate the team as well. But before I let you go, do you have any final words for the Oxygen fans that have been sticking through with the team this time for you?
Hey, I know split one was rough, but thank you for sticking it out with us. Thank you to all the fans. Thank you to all the haters. Yeah, we'll be back for split two. Peace.
Thanks again, Mitch. Have a good rest of your night with the team. One last time, I got to bring back our analyst. How we kind of recap the day, the split. I mean, Vans, Oxygen, the 3-2 record for split one, but now, I mean, the confidence, the core of the team. I mean, I am excited for split two coming out from them.
The crazy part is that, Mitch was talking about having a rough split one or a stage one, but yes, a 3-2 record is not that bad. I mean, you still lost week one to one of the best teams being Moist X Shopify, and then your week 5 was a loss to core that turned a lot of heads around, and a lot of people started putting respect on that team because they're actually literally a great challengers team. So I don't think that you're going to have to sell yourself short with how things ended for you in the stage one, but at least they were able to turn around, like you mentioned, after that boot camp, and they look so good right now. And it's definitely a night and day kind of thing where it seems like they have really found their groove, and they got to be the team to look out for now in stage two.
Yeah, this is a team that's getting better every single week. I mean, we've seen it all throughout the stage going into this, and like you said, it's not a bad stage. 3-2. This is a marathon. This is not a sprint. These guys are accumulating the points, stacking the experience, and getting ready for that Challengers playoffs at the end, and then eventually the Ascensions tournament. So this is something where these guys seem to have the right mentality. I love what Mitch is saying about, let's just get people where they're comfortable. Let's enable our people. And again, thank you to all the haters. I mean, I love that from him. These guys are confident. They're pushing out all the exterior factors, just focusing on themselves. Yeah, exactly. Thank you to the haters.
I mean, looking back at the journey that Oxygen took to take to this point, I mean, you're saying it's a marathon, not a sprint. It feels like this last little bit was a sprint right to that end. And Oxygen really showing that when it mattered most here, Vans, like they had more than what it took. The boot camp did so good for them, and being able to see then them take down one of the top teams coming out from the other groups. There's always been the conversation, which is the best team, which are the best teams, because it's hard to tell in that group to group standoff, but this is definitely a big statement coming out.
The big important thing is what you said. They step up when it matters the most. And it started off there with that round of 8 when he played against Core, right? Again, they lost against them in week number 5. And they came out with a vengeance in that map, bringing out a Clove on Lotus and just not running in his strats, playing team deathmatch and just owning, right? So when they want to come out and set a tone and set a statement, they're able to do so. And to be able to speed run through the grand finals like that, like I said, they really wanted to people to start talking more about Oxygen Esports rather than like the M80 or the Moistek Shopify. No offense, Don, at this point, but they're really doing a great job at it.
Yeah, and though we do have to talk a little bit of the housekeeping on this one, because it's not just about the money, it's not just about the title, but of course the circuit points when we're looking at challengers and for these teams, because obviously at the end of the day, we're looking at Ascension. We're trying to figure out which team is going to be ascending on up and going to be making franchising. And looking back at the circuit points here for the season, like the mid-season cup, definitely a great way to put them in a better position, considering they didn't get the most as maybe a couple of their other counterparts did in that first stage.
Yeah, you know, those 2 losses in the regular season definitely affected the points here for Oxygen. But like you said, this little sprint at the end, it was one heck of a sprint, especially for Oxygen, only dropping 1 map throughout the entire mid-season cup. So they're going to come out with 12 points here, tied for second with Shopify, with Turtle Troop just barely edging them out with 13 due to their 4-1 record in the regular season. So obviously followed closely behind by M80, and then right behind that Core and Sad rounded out 5th and 6th. So the top 8 teams are going to hit the Challengers playoffs at the end of the year. So we are looking forward towards stage 2. This is where that marathon comes into play. We'll have to get 5 more weeks of regular season matches and then see how these playoffs are going to shake out.
Exactly. It's really important to note that it's not about what group you're in and whatnot, because everybody's going to pretty much end up playing against each other at some point. And then those points that you actually accumulate through, like the circuit points that you accumulate through these stages, and then also going into the Challengers finals, will be the last 2 to see who's going to make it now to the Ascension playoffs. And that's going to be a very fun one. You keep an eye on those. I think that battle you see at the beginning, it's very doable to catch up with the points and be back at the top. But you definitely, as a goal, want to make it at least to the top 8 to make it to those Challengers finals.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I think we came into this season looking at M80, MXS, and Oxygen as the top 3, but Turtle Troop have proven that anybody can kind of come up and challenge that status quo. We're now looking at Chudo Troop as part of this 4-team group of heavyweight favorites, right? But that's not to say that another team can't step up and really challenge that as well going into stage 2. There's still time for teams to retool and kind of redo their playbooks. There could be meta shifts, patches, anything could happen. It's a very long season. So I'm excited to see who might step up and take that mantle as the 5th team to enter that realm of possibility for contenders for the Ascension.
Can't wait to get to stage 2. Stage 1 in this mid-season cup has already been such a ride, and I cannot wait for more, but that is unfortunately it for us today. Thank you everyone so much for tuning in. Of course, my wonderful analysts, all the casters who have worked so hard. We'll see you real soon for stage 2. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day and the start of summer.
Bye.
Spike planted. One enemy. One enemy standing. Found them. Found them. Remain. Last player standing. One enemy remaining. down. One enemy remaining. Drop. One enemy remain. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. Flawless.
Peace.